What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away. We feel.
What's up, Internet? How was your weekend? I am Aries Van Dam, and today we have a very special episode. But first, please subscribe. I am desperate for subscribers. I need it. Help me prove to the world that I don't have to pretend to be a nice guy to get monetized. Let me be my asshole self. You will really like it. Please. Trust me, you'll love it. I am a dickhead. So, and if you don't subscribe, my co-host will be eating shitty dog food soon enough. You don't want that. He's a dick. He's a bigger dick than me. He's on strike right now. If you notice, he's not in his chair. He's on strike because he got put in a kennel this weekend for almost biting someone. He is a mean man. You don't want to piss him off, so subscribe. And also, today's show was supposed to be, let me turn this off. Today's show was supposed to be Tucker and Huckabee, which I am excited about. But last night, I got a gift from God. Andrew Wilson, the king, returned to whatever podcast, and it was glorious. First night back, he finds another one, another TPUSA Covert Feminist. And they all look the same. They all look like the same person. This is actually a different girl from the last time. I know, I was shocked too. But let's get into it because I really have air conditioning guys coming today. And if I have to answer the phone and run off camera, that's the air conditioning guys. I don't usually leave my phone on, but I need to today. So just a warning. But it's going to be a long one. I'm starting off at the 42-minute mark on last night's whatever. Enjoy. What are you talking about? Put it up on the screen. You can see it.
Maybe the word you wanted was pressured?
Yeah, pressured, but I mean, there are instances of people being like more forced into it.
Like manipulated?
Yeah, like really manipulated. I had a friend.
Or in an ultimatum.
Yeah, and an ultimatum. So ultimately, I mean, everybody has autonomy and they can decide, but there's a manipulative aspect to that. I think men that can be great leaders, but women have the areas that they can.
But none of that's force.
Outside of sexual like stuff, obviously, do you think it's okay for men to pressure, coerce you into a certain thing if it is for your own good? Like,
yeah. If it's in your best interest in mind, then I think.
What if you don't think personally it's in your best interest because you don't know it yet?
I mean, it depends on the thing. You can always experiment, and I don't think you should be so like a die hard on that department.
Are we officially on the topic of, what is the role of men and women in relationships and who should be more submissive or dominant or what?
Yeah.
You let us know, Brian.
It's
to know whether to chime in or not on that.
In your ideal relationship, like you, not even yours, but just generally the ideal relationship, do you believe that a woman should be submissive?
For whatever reason, I don't think submissive is necessarily the right word. I think we defer to each other in different ways. For example, if you're a mother with a young child, right, and ideally you wouldn't be doing sleep training, you'd be with the child all the time, you'd be breastfeeding, and you'd have that experience with the child, you'd probably have a better idea of what that child needs in those early development years than the father might have if he's gone at work. And that's not to say that the father isn't in touch with his child. It doesn't mean he doesn't love his child, but our different experiences will create a different environment in which we're able to.
So what's your definition? Because we might be missing definitions on submissive. Like, what do you think I mean when I say submissive?
Yeah, I guess for me.
That little girl with the brown hair, the one to the far right now, she's actually pretty based. So keep an eye on her.
I come from a Catholic background, so I grew up Catholic, and always kind of that association of submissive is just saying like yes to everything, being like, okay, fine. So that's just kind of what I've come to associate it with, because that's how I've seen submissive be played out.
I think, don't you think like being submissive, you would be more prone to do that to somebody that you trust rather than someone you just met? And isn't that the point of the breastfeeding and the getting to know somebody?
I mean, that's a very fair point. I think with all of that, women have to have a lot of discernment when they get into a relationship. You really got to know. And if you can get in a position where you're with a man who does love you and who does have your best intentions at mind, then that's a situation you can be submissive. But the reason why I have such a differentiation with that is because I think a lot of women kind of lack that discernment, and they lack getting in these situations and in these relationships.
Believe it or not, I fast forwarded through 42 minutes of this kind of woman prattle just to get to this point. It's coming really soon, though.
Relationships with men who really do have their best interests at heart. That does exist, and that is possible.
I have a completely different. Oh, are we?
Excuse me. Continue.
I have a completely different idea of why things are so messed up in relationships nowadays, and I think it's because we are living in times that have never existed before between men and women. I'd say up until the 1970s, women weren't really equal to men when it comes to being financially independent. Up until the 1970s. By the way, I'm very conservative, so I'm just pointing out the facts. And the reason I'm even on this...
Let me listen.
The reason I'm even on this show is because I think that we need to fix relationships between men and women so that we have more nuclear families. And so I want to speak the truth to help both sides, men and women, get along a lot better.
And I'd like
Can
I just add to that is that I agree with, like, it's just the technological era. I think, for me, my opinion on what you're saying is that I just think, like, we have an impatience in society.
That's more recent,
when a man, yes, because we're in the modern now.
Yeah, but I'm going back to the 1970s.
Oh,
so let me go back a little bit more.
You're
where
just talking
women
about
and men,
credit cards and banks.
Exactly. And so just the millennial generation of women is the first generation that can be financially independent without the need of a man. So the millennial woman can technically afford life for herself.
Do you think that's a good
That's the
thing?
biggest crock of shit ever.
Martha Washington died with more money than George.
So, well, we could disagree, and that's why we're here, right?
Yeah. So when we're talking about
women don't need men financially, therefore they want them for different reasons,
Do you think
emotional reasons,
do you think
and
that's a good
emotional
thing?
intelligence.
the thing is when you're talking about women not being able to get credit cards, women couldn't incur debt. They weren't allowed to incur debt.
Yeah.
So who incurs the most amount of debt in modernity?
Okay.
Who? Men or
Well,
women?
women in the United States, correct?
Yeah. So the thing is like that doesn't seem like that's financial independence. It seems like that's financial slavery to me.
Well, they owe
and
things
not
to
only
the
that,
banks.
most of the time that they end up with houses, they own more houses than men. They usually get them in divorces, not because they bought them straight out. And the idea here, women could get bank accounts, actually. It's just if they were married, they didn't. And it went through the husband because the husband was responsible for all the debt. The women could not incur debt. They could still spend the money, but they couldn't incur the debt.
Yeah, but they also couldn't take out a loan or have a
They
credit
could take out
card.
loans. They just couldn't take out loans. If they
Fine.
were married, their husband took out the loan because
Correct.
they couldn't incur the debt.
So
That was a good thing.
So there wasn't financial independence, is what I'm trying to say.
There
And
was
that's why-
financial independence.
And that's why nowadays.
married.
and
No,
that's
if you're married, why would you want? Okay, let's
Correct.
back up.
Go
Why would you
ahead.
need financial independence if you're married?
Because when people
That's
have when
counterintuitive.
people have historically been in positions of power over other people, people abuse that power. When you have any kind of relationship in history
man. This
where
is
there's
femcon stuff. Okay.
no,
Yeah.
I'm actually extremely conservative, and
That's,
because of
feminist conservative femcon.
because
Yeah.
of the fact that men back in the day, again, weren't able to, or women back in the day were not able to be financially independent. They were in a position where they
Why?
couldn't be their individual selves.
Right this second, right now, as we speak, if you're married, can your wife go into your account and take your money?
Not
Yeah.
every relationship
Hang
is
on,
like
let her
that.
answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't
and,
understand.
And vice versa as
I
well.
don't. So what do you need independence for?
So you can be your own individual person. That's
You're still your own individual person.
no, if you don't have
Sometimes
any
men are
financial
controlling and
independence.
don't allow you to
If I
have
had to
access.
rely on my man's
hang on,
money,
hang on.
I would feel
Let us
some
finish.
type of
Let
way
us
about
finish
it.
the engagement.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Do you really want me to like try to argue with 5 people at once?
We're not arguing, it's a discussion.
Okay. It sounds like it.
Wait your turn, bimbo. He'll get to you.
So
Sorry that
anyway,
you're taking it that way.
anyway, so you're married. You have a husband. You need financial independence from your husband.
I think every person should.
Now, hang on.
Let me answer. You just asked
I
me a
want to make
question.
sure that
Wait,
you say.
She doesn't answer a question all night long.
Yes or no, and then the qualifier.
Are you asking me a
Yeah,
question?
but I need you to answer yes or no, and then the qualifier.
No, it's a full answer, right?
Okay, fine. You're not going to answer it,
Thank
but go
you
ahead.
so much.
You won't
So
actually answer it.
yes, I still think that people are individuals, regardless of whether they are in a partnership with somebody else or not. And that's why more women are refusing to be married. And I think the number one proof that women weren't happy or satisfied back in the day when they supposedly didn't have to work is that when they were offered the opportunity to join the workforce, they did, right? They did, and they became more financially independent. They joined careers, they got degrees, and so I want it
It's completely ahistorical. Here's what actually happened.
Are you telling me I'm saying that? Are you saying that I'm lying?
Was she? Can we get a
Turn the
timer on
butter.
it?
Still making
Turn the
her
butter
point.
Can we
loose.
get a
I feel
timer
like
on it?
just because you're married doesn't mean your man has all your best interests and your desires at the forefront.
4,000 words to answer a yes/no question.
That's why you're supposed to marry. They should have your best interests.
Well,
Anyway.
they don't. They should. That'd be nice.
Hang on, calm down.
That'd be nice in a
This is-
fantasy world.
Let him
Hang
make his
on,
point,
chill,
ladies.
chill,
Let him
chill.
make his point, ladies.
The whole thing is ahistorical anyway. The reason that women had to enter the workforce because you couldn't afford anymore to have one income. Most women prefer not to work. Most married women prefer not to work. Most women, when asked, say that they would prefer, if they've been in the workforce, to be out of the workforce. Why? Because most men would prefer to be out of the.
Because work sucks.
Wouldn't it be nice if I could just sit at home all day and do nothing? That sounds fantastic. But here's
So
the thing.
once
Hang
it's
on. Let me finish.
Let
me
him
finish. Let me finish.
his point of view.
So the other thing is all you're advocating is that wives need to have financial independence from their husbands.
Correct.
Why?
So that they
Because
can
we're our own
always
people.
Yes, and this basic,
Just in case we need to leave
and
them.
this
How is
basic-
this a
Exactly.
conservative position?
The bimbo got it right because they want to leave them.
And this basic
a
concept that
humanity-
we as conservative women are
humanity.
trying to get men, conservative
Personal
men
rights.
like you, to understand is the reason that there is this complete ideological divide where even conservative women are not getting married.
What is the difference
Yeah.
between this
Don't
position
blanket
and the
that.
liberal
Don't
position?
blanket that with
And so,
conservative
and you just
women.
said one sentence that is extremely important,
Yeah.
which is women, they're just going to stay at home and do nothing if they're married. And the fact that you don't
Aw.
understand the intrinsic value of being a homemaker and a wife, that is the reason why there is this problem, right? Just
Oh.
because women have
I see.
worked but not have been paid for the work that they do as a homemaker, as a full-time child taker.
This is a
child
feminist
caretaker, right?
position.
No, this is not. This is
This
a
is
common-
unpaid labor at home. It's a feminist position.
Yeah, guys.
It is the ultimate feminist
It is a
position. Women are
capitalist-
getting unpaid labor at home.
No, it is a
taking care of
capitalist-
their children.
Guys,
No, it
why
is an
did
it is an intelligent capitalist position.
How is that in a capitalist position?
So a smart woman is going to consider, hey, am I going to get into a relationship with a man that expects me to cook and clean for us and for our kids in
Which
the
is
day?
work.
How
with
hard
no
is it
income.
to
So
cook and
the
clean
best-
now?
The best example,
As
the
a
best,
wife.
While he works to pay all the fucking bills.
the best example I can put is, let's say that you have a child that is yours biologically, dropped at your doorstep one day. The mother's nowhere to be found. You now have to take care of this child. How do you take care of that child if not by paying
So,
somebody to cook for it, to feed it, to look for it, right, around the clock?
you had
So
to work, you mean?
caretaker. So you would have to.
Well, hang on, the
You would have to
qualifier-
stay going to work.
Hang on, the qualifier is if you weren't independently wealthy, right? If you were working.
If you're in your current position right now, how much do you think you would have to shell out to maintain that child that is biologically yours and just got to your doorstep? And I'll tell you,
Depends on the choices I want to make for
well,
the kid.
research, there has been research on this, and they quantified it to a number, to over $200,000 a year.
It does not cost $200,000 a year to raise a kid.
Okay, well,
I'm a single guy. Am I doing that $200,000 worth of work for free by myself right now? My house is clean. My clothes are clean. What the fuck is she talking
well,
about?
If you want good care, it might.
Really?
And besides, isn't that her kid? Wouldn't she be responsible for half of that bill too? Shouldn't she have to pay half of that $200,000? Like, wouldn't $100,000 of that be hers since it's her child? Is she not responsible for any of the bills? How is that fair?
Quick on this point, and then I'll pass it right back to Andrew. Can you break down the $200,000 for us?
yes.
Yeah, please.
So imagine right now, food services, right? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner made for 2 people. And if you have kids, you have to add that as well. If you take kids to school, then that is a personal driver, right? The entire time that you take them to school, or you can homeschool, that would
Like Uber doesn't exist.
make things easier.
Or you just drive them and drop them off at school.
Grocery shopping, which takes time. Grocery shopping, which takes time. Planning out meals, planning out the kid
Meals she's going to eat too, just so you know. He's paying the full price and she's eating those meals too.
activities.
We're just describing regular human things.
Which is a personal assistant. Well, no, people get paid for those kinds of things.
Yes,
and
that's
here's
true.
the thing.
What's the math?
I'm not advocating.
That's what we want to know.
This is
Because women
something-
will do this
yeah.
thing and it's very.
The math is
hold on.
Googleable.
Brian's talking about their little issue where they always talk about how much it costs for a date and they try and tell you, oh, I bought mascara and this mascara costs $39, so you owe me for this. No, you use it one time. You get to use that thing for like 6 months. Like that's the fucking thing he's talking about. That's what he's trying to get to.
Googleable.
No. But what you'll do is, hold on. What you'll do is you'll take, okay, how much does a professional cleaner make in a year? And maybe that's 30, 40, 50,000. And you're going to tack that on. But professional cleaners are cleaning 40 hours a week. So
So
you
that's
are
definitely not
considering like, so okay, for example, if you were to hire a professional cleaner once per week, how much would that cost?
Yes.
That might be more attuned
Yes,
to.
correct.
Right,
I'm
but
going
it's
off of
not.
those
But
numbers.
some people are going to collapse the entire yearly earnings of all these industries. So okay,
That's not what they did in those studies, though.
As if maids make $200,000 a year. And as if the man isn't going to be responsible for security of the house. You hear a noise in the middle of the night. Hey, do we need to hire security? No, I'm going to go fucking check on it. She doesn't count that as negative because that should take away from what she's being paid, her $200,000, right? She gets an armed security guard 24/7. How much does that cost?
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I was asking for a breakdown.
Correct.
on
That's
those
not
numbers.
what I'm-
So, are you also doing the factoring in as to men are doing? They're basically unpaid yard work and
No.
they're unpaid executive protection.
What I'm saying-
Does your boyfriend have a firearm?
He does, yes.
Oh, do you have a firearm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
but he
Modern
would,
feminist.
Would you expect your boyfriend
What's
to
up,
like
baby?
protect you in some sort of life-threatening situation?
He can, but we would both be, good with.
Let's say
with
you
it.
were both
They
disarmed.
say
Wait,
a gun
question.
is a equalizer, the great equalizer.
Let's say you were.
Are you as
hold on,
equal with
really
this
quick,
handgun as
really-
your boyfriend?
Really quickly, let's say you were both disarmed. He obviously, I'm assuming your boyfriend is
Yes.
physically stronger than you.
Yes.
He would fare better trying to
Yes.
take on a physical threat.
Yes.
Right. So you have unpaid executive protection.
Yes.
Right.
And
Are you
do
factoring
think-
that into the calculus
Yes, correct. And so it has to,
Okay.
and
Back
so
to you.
basically men are on the same spectrum in that they have to see if they financially benefit from coming into a partnership with a woman, because a man doesn't need a woman to cook or clean for them, right? You can pay for all those services yourself. The same way that men can pay women, pay a service to cook or clean for them, women can pay somebody to do the yard work for them, or they can pay a Ring camera for protection, or they can own a firearm.
But-
what I'm trying to say is that I want men and women.
But they don't. They just get a simp who will do it for them for free on the promise that maybe one day he'll get to bang her. That's what they do.
To come into a relationship together by understanding the value that they both bring to the table.
Yeah,
And I
I understand
understand
what
the
you're
value of men. I think that they work very hard. I think that society could not function with them being in key roles. I think they are biologically a lot stronger. That is a fact, right? And so I'm very thankful for their existence, and we need them. However, women are equally as critical for the different services that they provide and the things that they are good at. And I feel like historically, unfortunately, that has been ignored, and that's why we're seeing this loneliness
Links are all in the description, but I put them there every video.
epidemic
The
between
loneliness,
men and women.
yeah, the loneliness epidemic exists on both sides. That's the first thing. The second thing is,
I just want to
I agree.
argue the whole like protection thing too for her, because her partner doesn't have to protect her. That's not his job. But might he want to protect her so that
that's
he
your
can
role as a man.
continue to look at her pretty face and have her in his life?
Would you
problem, bro.
want? Would you want a man that
she's
doesn't
not-
automatically protect
might
you?
might her partner have to
And I
expect?
think they
Well, hang
want
on,
a
hang
man
on.
to automatically
Might her-
No, I'm saying, would you want a man who does not automatically protect you?
man.
No, of course not. But
Oh,
they should
okay.
appreciate me to
Might
that
her
degree that
partner
they want to.
Might her partner have an expectation then that she mother the kids? Might he have that expectation?
Mothering the kids, but doing all the deep cleaning of the house and the cooking
being
of
a mother.
And here's the
being a
thing. And
caretaker.
here's the thing.
Hang on. Let me respond
way
to
more work
let me
to it
respond to
than
some of your
just
points
the-
here. The first, there's a bunch of holes in what you said. The first hole is, do you want to outsource your child to other people?
No.
Well, then I don't understand. Where does the financial independence thing come in?
So I actually support women that want to be stay-at-home moms.
No, that's
and
not my. I'm not asking who you support.
I know, let me answer the question.
Hang
you
on.
asked
Let
me,
me.
right?
I want to make sure that you understand the question I asked
Go
you.
ahead.
So I'm going to ask you to repeat the question I asked you. The question I'm asking you is, do you want mothers who are at home,
Yes.
to outsource their children? And if you do or don't, how are they able to be financially independent? Can you repeat that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you believe that women should financially outsource taking care of their kids? And I think that depends on the
What's the
individual.
second part?
And I think that
What's the
depends
second part
on
of the question?
Individual.
The second part.
There's women that want to be full-time mothers and stay at home with the kids, and there's women that want to have a career and also have kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the fact that we're chastising those kinds of
I find this to be a new debate technique that women are using, where they'll just lull you to sleep with these long answers that don't go anywhere until you just forget what they fucking said. They're fighting us on our ADHD because they know we can't pay attention to bullshit like that for that long, and they just can't say yes or no.
of women is why, again, we are in this
How
battle
does
of
a
the sexes.
woman maintain financial independence?
Yes.
Meaning, how does she work
While also
if she
taking care of
stays
the
at
kids.
home with her kids?
You
How?
can have a part-time job or
Are
work
people
from
like
home.
I have chastising women
A lot of
for
people's
being
jobs
working
are
mothers.
online these days. You guys are saying that most women don't want to work, men wouldn't want to work if they could choose, but personally, it would be my dream to be able to.
These two prostitutes on the right side just haven't learned yet that they need to shut the fuck up. They interrupt the entire time, and I think Brian actually has to kick one of them off or threaten them or whatever later. It was brutal. They would not shut the fuck up and let him do his job.
Have a family and have the freedom to have my side hustle and have my business. I don't need to work like a dog. I can have it all.
Do you see the massive hole with
can't
that?
have it all.
I don't want to work.
No, you can't have it all.
Hang on,
Ladies,
hang on.
I never want to have
You
it.
really can. If you were
there's
if
a
you were
few-
an exception, you could have.
Hang on, one at a time,
One at a time.
Calm down.
One at a time. I think the answer to that is remote work.
One at a
and I
time.
There's
think
only
just
been like
one.
2 at a time this whole time.
and
almost.
that is remote work. That is also work that requires being a small amount of time in the office, and you can homeschool.
You can
so
make jewelry.
homeschooling is a great option. I plan to homeschool my kids in the future.
Beautiful.
That means that you only take 2 to 3 hours a day. Actually, it's not 8 hours like public school, i.e. government indoctrination centers. You take 2 to 3 hours taking care of your kids, educating your kids, instilling the moral
Do you
values
see
that
the
you
new?
want in them.
Do you see the new
And
hole
then
you
you
just
have-
made in your ideology, though?
And then you have the rest of the day to also do your job, whatever it is that you
Where do
are
your
passionate
kids go
about,
while you do
right?
your job?
Whatever you're passionate about, and you can bring your kids along.
So the
to
way
it.
that women have financial independence, it is
job
while
allows you
they
to bring your
don't
kids?
outsource the child care is by having part-time remote work. Now, question:
It exists.
does she get to keep all that money, or does that go to the contribution of the household?
I think it should. Yes.
I think it depends
Then,
on the
if that's the
relationship.
case, how is she being financially independent again?
maybe she
Hey,
can have
let
all
her
the
let her
money.
answer.
Yeah, shut
Because
the
she
fuck
can
up.
still have personal accounts that she only has access to, and you also have joint accounts
So that
as
she
well.
gets, so she's keeping the money away from the contribution of the household in a personal account that nobody else
For
has
her
access
own
to.
self.
I think that every single adult, male and female, should have a prenup, and that should be part of that as well for their own personal protection. But I think overall, the reason for the prenup.
So you're advising women to hide money
No.
from the household.
No. How can
It's
you
not
hide
hiding if
something
they
that
know.
is
This is what
hiding?
works for
That
her.
is-
I
hold
like
on,
Jim
girls.
Bob, man.
How
Not
is-
all.
how
It's
is-
not hiding.
Hold on, girls. How is
Everyone
it?
There's not a
knows what the
traditional-
numbers. Everyone knows the
Hold on,
numbers.
guys.
No
This
one's
is like
hiding.
on,
even
guys.
if this was the traditional
How-
structure, it still would not be the traditional structure. Like,
Yes.
it wouldn't be for everyone.
But how is it hiding if it's something that was previously
I know what
agreed
you're talking
upon
about. Well,
before coming into America?
Here's what's funny. When you're
what is funny?
talking about advising, you're like, listen, women, what I want you to do is have your own independent money, and the way that you can do
Russell, that's what I would do too. I would just talk louder over them until they shut the fuck up. I found that women do shut up when you just talk louder because they don't know what to do.
this and not outsource the childcare so you don't have to work is hopefully you can be one of the few.
So you don't have to work.
Hang
I'm not saying
hang
that.
on. So, well, yes, you are. You have to work in order to get money.
Yes.
So then, yes.
So you don't have to work.
Yeah.
So that you
So
can
let me
work,
give the position.
Right, so you
okay.
can
Let me give the
work.
position.
Okay.
And I'll make sure I'm steel manning it. Women should have own money. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
They get money by working. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Women have children, and you don't want them to outsource the care of the children to other people.
It depends on the occasion.
But if they want to not
wanna go on vacation,
well, you would agree
yes.
with me. It's better for the outcomes of children if they don't.
If I want to go on a date night with my husband, yes, I
That's
will
not
outsource.
outsourcing care.
Yeah, that is exactly what
I didn't
I'm
know you even
referring
did those.
to.
No.
Outsourcing care.
Hiring a babysitter for 6 hours is far different than sending your
So we
kid.
have different
than no, we don't have a different. It's so absurd.
You're arguing in bad faith.
We're gonna argue. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
See, little bass girls
hey,
catching me.
can you come babysit tonight? Oh, you just outsource the care of your. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about long-term outsourcing of the raising of your children to
Which
other
I don't
people.
want.
You're talking
I
about
want
nanny
Exactly.
raising.
So what if
So
you
then
want
if
a
I'm,
nanny?
you got to stop interrupting, or I can't.
Please.
We'll never get through the argument. I promise we'll be able to engage. But walking through the argument,
On your time.
woman stays home. Well, who's having the argument? So woman stays home, and you want her to have her own money. You don't want her to outsource the care of the children. That means that she has to get some kind of remote job while she's at home. But instead of contributing all of that to the joint household expenses, you still are recommending that she holds some of it in reserve, right? In her own account that her husband can't access?
Yeah, and the man as well. Yes.
He doesn't need to.
How does that not create a massive division in the marriage? Why?
She wants an escape clause so she can get out whenever shit gets bad. They're already planning on the divorce while they're married. That's what he's trying to get to. They're not going into this as a marriage. They're going into this as just something they're doing for a couple of years. They've already got their escape routes planned.
Not just share everything in the marriage. You're married.
Because
There's a
Because women are selfish.
If you
There's
if
a
you had
fund for
daughter-
that.
If you have a daughter,
How much money do you think people make?
Okay, if you have a daughter,
I do have daughters.
You do have a daughter, and when they grow up, would you tell them, honey, I want you to get married with no prenup whatsoever, completely be financially dependent on a man? Is that what you would
Well,
advise
first of
them?
all, the prenup would be better for the man. For her,
I'm not talking about
for
the man.
her
I'm
having.
talking about your daughter.
That's
She
what
can't
that's
with
what I'm.
money.
Wait, let him answer.
That's what I'm saying. The prenup would actually be better for the man. So I would tell her not to get the prenup because if they got a divorce, she's going to actually have an advantage in court. That's the first
That's not
thing.
necessarily
It is
true. It is
necessarily
not
true.
true.
It is true.
It is
But here's
factually
the
untrue.
it's factually is true. So here's the other part of this that's funny. And this moves into the ideology, right? Why would I want my daughter to marry a man who she didn't trust enough to manage the household finances, or even if they jointly manage the household finances, for them to have complete access to each other's accounts, social media? They're married. They're one flesh.
Do you
ever put
They're
all
one
of your
flesh.
trust in one man.
do you get to make a choice on who she
don't marry
marries,
him.
though?
No.
Okay, so then you trust
You
your
asked me what I would
Marry people
advise.
all the time with
Yes, so you
People
would
change.
so you would
What do
advise
you mean
your
by
daughter.
one flesh?
What?
So
One flesh to
Yes, one
you
flesh.
would advise your daughter to
Well,
basically.
so hang on.
Go.
So
Go ahead.
we're talking about worldviews here. So I have a different paradigm than you have. You guys have like a modern liberal paradigm.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. But I have a paradigm, an Orthodox religious paradigm, Orthodox Christian religious paradigm. So I have a different
Really?
paradigm than you do.
Really?
Yes, really.
Christian.
Yes, Christian.
I think we're
Yes.
forgetting the fact that when you are in a
Orthodox
long-term
Christians,
marriage,
specifically.
there is a possibility that one of the partners could go through mental illness.
Sure.
Or you end up with a narcissist that doesn't reveal themselves until they've got you locked down. So I think, at least
married,
for
which
me,
happens.
I think
why
it-
I
yeah.
would have a little,
Narcissism's rare.
No,
not as much as you think. especially
Yes,
true
it's
not especially
Covert
Let's
maybe, but
hang on. Let's find out. We'll do an experiment right now. Okay, real quick.
Before
Raise
we
your
get to the
hang on,
narcissist.
real quick. Raise your hand if you've dated a narcissist. Go ahead. Okay. Now keep your hands raised if you've dated a narcissist.
Definition, though,
I haven't.
probably not, but like
Okay.
modern definition.
Now keep your hand raised if they were a diagnosed narcissist, or if you Okay.
They would have to go to therapy and doctors and
Hang on, stop.
and do that kind of shit.
I think we're
Were they a
deviating from the
diagnosed
subject here.
Of course
narcissist?
they're not diagnosed. They don't care about their mental
Was yours
health.
a diagnosed
They don't care to fix
narcissist? So
themselves.
one person at the table actually dated a diagnosed narcissist.
Yeah, but okay.
Was he diagnosed?
We're deviating
Okay.
from the subject where I'm just pointing out that it's hypocritical to say that you don't believe women and men should have prenups when you know that you wouldn't advise your daughter to get into a marriage without a prenup with a man. Period. You wouldn't.
No, I literally told you the prenup would be in favor for the man, not for her.
That is not true. So,
It is true.
It's
It's definitely true.
Maybe because
They're not understanding. Prenups protect you from a judge making your decision. Judges overwhelmingly favor women in divorce courts. Prenups do benefit men more than women because men are the ones who usually get shafted by a judge. If you take that out of his hands, you're helping the man.
he doesn't have money to begin with.
Hold on, guys. So saying that you don't want a prenup is the equivalent of saying that you don't believe that you'll amount to anything in life that will be worth something that somebody else wants to.
Yeah, that's not saying that at all.
Yes, it is.
No, what it's saying is that
Yes, it is.
you have faith. You have faith. Okay, so
What if I make more than my husband in the future? And I hope
What if you
that I
do?
do, and I hope that he makes more than me. It doesn't.
So you're
really
preparing
matter.
for failure.
No, I'm preparing for.
You're preparing for
both of us
failure.
Being successful, and
For
that being
failure.
the case.
You're preparing for failure.
No.
But
I
then
don't.
why do you need the prenup?
Because
just answer
I
what if she's
believe in
coming into this
statistics
situation
and
with money?
90%.
Stop.
Statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
90%
He needs a whip.
of marriages end up in
And who are
divorce.
they mostly initiated by?
Just because, oh my gosh. Well, my.
Who are they mostly initiated
My
by?
ex-employer Charlie Kirk answered this question not too long ago when he was on the podcast, or it was on one of his Prove Me Wrongs. And just because women first initiate divorces doesn't mean that men aren't the first ones to start the process or give them a reason to. So that is a completely illogical.
Then how come they don't put as the reason things like irreconcilable differences? They're not putting things like domestic violence, cheating, things like this. Are just putting irreconcilable differences. Your
Okay.
former employer, by the way, Charlie Kirk, would have completely and totally agreed with me on what marriage
not
was.
on this subject.
Yes, on
And
this subject too.
verbatim, this can be looked up. Googled.
Okay, so
He does
Charlie
not
Kirk is
believe that-
recommending to his daughters to get a prenuptial agreement.
I don't know because
Did he have one with
unfortunately,
Erica?
Because he's not here, and I don't know that either.
Yeah, of course not. He didn't. I guarantee you he didn't.
I hope that you are, not saying things that aren't true. But
I'm pretty
anyways,
confident that Charlie Kirk did not have a prenup with Erica
You really
Kirk.
can't speak for him, though.
Maybe the reason he's not here today.
Correct.
I mean, I can call Jack Prosobic and ask him right now. I bet you he's going to tell me. I bet he would.
That's a dishonor.
That was like his best friend.
That's a very
Wait, can I ask one question?
dishonest take.
Do you think,
don't
look in
know
the
that.
camera and say that you think that Charlie Kirk had a prenup with Erica Kirk?
I don't know.
Yeah,
whether or
exactly.
not They had a prenup with-
Ridiculous.
This is the
don't know
honest
either.
take.
Yeah,
I don't
Kirk
know,
would-
and neither do you.
So not only that,
Can you
though,
admit
the
that you don't know for a
problem
fact?
is.
Can you admit that you don't know
Well,
for a fact?
you can't know it for a fact.
he have a
but I would
prenup?
say I doubt it. I doubt it.
Okay, so you don't know for a fact.
Yeah,
correct?
And you
but
don't
I
either.
doubt it.
But you don't know for a fact.
I mean, I don't know for a fact that you're
That's-
who you
okay,
say
that's
you are.
the point I'm trying to make. Thank you.
So
just
there's
give a
like a
scenario?
statistical average here.
Thank
There's
you.
going to be some doubt,
Thank you.
but I
Okay.
doubt it.
Can I give a
Not only
scenario?
that, let's point this out though. You still have massive holes. You still have massive holes in your logic.
Go for
and
it.
the huge hole in your logic is if you're advising women to not outsource their care, try to get some kind of remote job. What I don't understand is why you're trying to pit the husband and wife against each other, though.
I'm not.
Why is it that she doesn't have as much responsibility to the contribution of the household as he does? If he wants to have access to her money, why shouldn't he be allowed to do that?
Let's
Vice
talk,
versa?
gotta
let's
stop
talk
interrupting.
facts and statistics. Statistically speaking, couples that have prenups last longer and don't get divorces. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't even think that's true, actually.
It is, and you can anybody.
But I
watching
would
this
say it's
can look this
likely
up.
true due
No,
to.
it is true.
I,
It is
okay,
true.
I would say it's probably likely true if it
It
is.
is true,
If
so
hang
why
on,
do you
calm
think
down,
it
ladies,
is?
so I can answer. I
Why
think
do
it
you
would be
think it is?
likely due to wealth. Because wealthy people divorce less, and wealthy people are the more likely to get prenups. Therefore, I would say it's probably the most likely. Wealthy people get prenups. Wealthy people are the least. What you're doing is causation correlation.
No.
Because it correlates that people with prenups get divorced less. And it also correlates that
fact.
people who are wealthy get divorced less. Why should we use your correlate that it's the prenup which prevents them from getting
No,
divorced
I
rather
just
than the wealth?
presented a fact, which is that those
And what
people,
does that correlate to, though?
it correlates to, and divorce lawyers speak on this, it's the fact that those couples are the ones that have the difficult conversations on money, on lifestyle, and all of those things, and put
What's
it
up,
down
Nat?
on paper
Because they have it.
before they get married.
Because they
what,
have it.
Because that's what responsible people
Yeah, because
do.
they're wealthy.
Because that's what emotionally intelligent people do.
Most people do not have the wealth to even worry about a
Do you
prenup.
think that non-wealthy
They were talking shit about her every time she'd get up to go get a drink. Everyone turned on her.
people don't get prenups?
I am a
Not often, no.
wealthy person that got a prenup.
Not often.
There you go.
Often, well,
She's a non-wealthy
that's nice.
person.
Okay,
that-
yeah.
Okay, so
Are women on
So she just
are women
proved
on
it.
average shorter than men? Oh, I'm not shorter than
what
most
would you
men.
consider wealthy?
Probably 500,000 plus.
Okay, and that is what percentage of the population?
Very
that
small
has-
percentage.
Very small percentage. But we still have a lot more than what, 5% of prenups? Like 5% of people that get
They
married get
usually
prenups?
correlates with the wealthy.
Yes, but no, we have a lot more prenups than we have
Yeah,
people
but
that qualify
what you would
as
need to
wealthy,
show us-
according to you.
Yeah, what you would need to show us, though, isn't that there's no poor people who get prenups, because that was never the statement. What you'd need to show us was whether or not it's the case that the correlate here isn't that wealthy people get divorced less because they're wealthy, or it's the case that it's because they have a prenup they're getting divorced less. I would say it's due to the wealth,
Well, I asked you what
because
you-
that
I
correlates with
asked you
higher
what you
forms of
think
education.
The correlation was. So
I just told you.
Okay,
It's going to
so-
be wealth and education. Those are the things that correlate with less divorce.
Also, people with prenups get divorced less because the woman knows what she's getting. And if women are the ones who initiate most divorces, and if they know that they're not going to get a lot of money out of this divorce, why would they end it? They can still live in this big, nice house and not go live in an apartment. That's why prenups keep people together.
Right.
Can I
So,
ask
but regardless, when you have a
Gotta wait.
prenup,
Just wait.
but regardless,
Keep
when you
jumping
have a
and jumping.
prenup,
It's
then
nice.
absolutely, then hold on, because I was like getting a little distracted here.
Good point.
Regardless, if you do have a prenup, then there is a high probability that you stay married. So wouldn't you say it's a
That's
good thing?
not.
Would you say
no,
it's a good
that's
thing for marriage?
you have to demonstrate it's because of the prenup and not because of the other correlates, which would be wealth and education, which are the higher contributing factors for lessening divorce.
So only wealthy- you're-
show
you're
me how
saying-
the correlate of a prenup. Like, do poor people with prenups get divorced less? Can you show that?
I think that those,
Can you
are,
show
those
it,
are the
though?
statistics that you need to
No,
find
you're looking at
online.
an average of all prenups and saying, okay, on average, this has some correlate to
I know
a
that
smaller
being
percentage.
wealthy isn't the reason, because you just said wealthy
Wealth
to you
is tied-
$500,000 or more, and I'm telling you that
Yes.
that is what maybe the top 5% of the population,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot more than the top 5% of the population get prenups. Yes or no?
Well,
yes or no?
yes, of course, but
Yes. Okay, so it's
That
not
doesn't
wealth.
make your point.
Yes, it does.
Okay, do you agree with me that on average men are taller than women?
Yes.
Okay, but do you also agree that some women are taller than the average
What
man?
the heck does this
Answer
have
my
to do
question.
with
Do you agree that?
You're off topic. Can I just
Stop.
Jeez. Do you agree
You
with
asked
me?
Andrew a question,
Yeah.
he answered it.
ahead.
He asked you a question, please answer
Do you
his
agree with
question.
me that there are some women, though, who are taller than average men?
Yes.
Does that eliminate the fact that on average men are taller? Of course not, right?
No.
Okay, so when we're talking about a correlate here, we're going to use the same standard. Do you agree with me that people who have high educations or higher education get divorced less?
Sure, yes.
Okay, do you also agree that there's a correlate between people who have higher education and wealth?
Yes.
Okay, so now we are agreeing that wealthy people and highly educated people get divorced less. Those are also the people most likely to get prenups. Just because other people also get prenups who aren't them doesn't mean that the contributing factor here to the lesser divorce has anything to do with the prenup. Do you understand that now?
I understand what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I understand what you're saying,
Okay.
and I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
the point I'm trying to make is that I think it is good for not just rich people to be the ones getting prenups, so that
that's a different argument, though.
No, that is my original argument, right?
Yeah,
that is what
that's-
I think. That's the point I've been trying to make.
But you're saying the reason is because that's going to contribute to lesser divorce in
Yes.
people who aren't wealthy.
Yes.
What I'm asking you is to demonstrate that part, not if people who are wealthy and have high education get lesser divorce also have more prenups, but whether or not people who have prenups who aren't in those categories are actually getting divorced less because of the prenup. That's what I want the demonstration of.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying, Crosswell. That's a new technique I'm finding a lot of women are learning to use. It's the not so erudite technique where they just talk so long you forgot what they even answered. It's really hard because I have ADHD and by the time they're finished, I'm like, what did she just say? I can't pay attention to a woman that long. It's fucking nuts. Sorry.
I understand what you're saying. So if, again, only top 5% of the population qualifies as wealthy, according to you, and they do get a prenup, and as a result, they
Well,
don't,
hang on, that was off the cuff. Whatever they consider wealthy
and
to
they
be.
and they don't get divorced. Cool,
Yeah.
that's great, fantastic,
much.
good for them. Now, for the rest of the population that doesn't qualify as wealthy, according to you, the 500 threshold, it could be more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And they stay married as well. Why do you think that is? Because it's clearly not wealth that's keeping them together. It must be the fact that they are responsible individuals
No,
that get together.
that doesn't
But let me
follow.
finish my thought. Responsible individuals that get together and talk about the reasons why they want to be in a marriage in the first place.
That's not even
where
an
they share
argument.
responsibility. Yes, because if
That's
it's
not even an argument. That doesn't even logically follow. You're just saying, I agree with you, Andrew, that people who have prenups who are also in these high categories for lesser divorce, I agree that those are the contributing factors for the lesser divorce. But I also just assume that other people who get prenups who aren't in those wealthy or highly educated categories also get divorced less based on I made it up.
No, based on facts.
What's the fact?
People that get prenups don't get divorced.
Okay, but is it because
Most
of
of
the
them.
prenup?
No, I don't think
There you
it's
go.
Exactly.
because
So
of the
then
prenup.
who cares?
Debate
Well,
over.
how does that make your
So
argument
why is
then?
it a bad thing for people to get it?
Well,
Why are you so against it?
First of all, I'm not against prenups. That's
Okay.
not the point. But I'm not going to let you get away with the argument that just having a prenup is going to lead to lesser divorce. That's not the strong correlate here. The strong correlate is going to be higher education, wealth. Those are the things which usually inspire people to get prenuptial agreements to begin with, and those are already in the categories of people who get divorced less. So if that's the case.
Look, if I
when
got
you say
married-
when you say an auto mechanic gets a prenup with a waitress, right? What part of the prenup is the mass consideration for divorce here? They don't fucking have nothing.
Okay, so
Mechanics
that's
can make a lot
that's
of
what
money,
you
so I
can't
disagree on
possibly
that.
conceptualize, and that's why it is a problem.
And a lot
The
of money
fact that
problem?
the fact that you're
Right.
thinking that those two people, that the waitress and the mechanic, can't make money in the future after
Not
they
saying
get
they
married.
can't.
That is what I'm saying. That's
And
okay. So
one of the
that is
points-
the premise that you're saying.
No,
One of the
I'm not.
points she made earlier
I'm saying
is that
if a
prenup-
mechanic and a waitress, they have a prenup,
Yes.
and then like 3 years later they get a divorce,
Okay.
right? But that was, I don't know, on average like a year longer than most people. How would the prenup have done anything with that exactly?
Well, first of all, it's very unlikely that they get divorced in the first place.
Of course,
because of that.
hypothetically, I'm just
No,
saying.
objectively
Getting to that.
speaking,
Hypothetically, I'm saying.
But hypothetically, right? The good thing is, if they do get a prenup and they do get divorced, is that they set the standards for their divorce instead of some random person in the U.S. government.
Okay,
Isn't
so
that a good enough reason
well,
to? Yes
what?
or no? Good enough
no,
reason.
no. That's
No,
not a
you
good
want the
enough reason for a
government to make the
prenup.
decision
No.
for you.
Well, then why get married?
Why get
Why get married?
right, guys? Why get married?
Answer my question.
Forget
Get
love,
married.
Forget love.
You can't have love. You can't have love without marriage. You can't have love without marriage. Can't have children without marriage. Can't have those things without marriage. Why
I'm
get
saying
married
that
at
you
all?
can.
If the whole idea here from you,
There's many
from the
reasons to get married.
FemCon, the FemCon idea, don't marry yourself to the state, get a prenup instead. It's like, okay, well then why get married at all?
From her perspective, that doesn't make sense. She's got to get married to get the house. That's how they get married. They get married to a really rich man and divorce him, and now they've got a really nice house. So that's why you get married if you're her. It's a silly question.
Can you explain that to me?
Because right now marriage is a legal institution as well. It didn't used to be.
Why
right?
do so? That's the same thing you're advising a
So
prenup
since
for.
it is, you're denying reality, which is that marriage is a legal concept.
Why do they even need to get married at all then?
You're
So
legally married
arguing now
after.
against marriage. Is that the case?
How is that me arguing instead of asking you a question? What's the difference between a question and an argument?
You just said why get married
Are
at all?
questions arguments?
Questions are not.
Y'all are
arguments.
stating
Great.
opinions.
Then I asked you a question.
And having
That's the
debates.
opposite of an
Same question.
argument. The question is, why get married at all then?
Why get married at all? Because you want somebody to witness your life. Because you want a life partner. Because of love. Because that is
Okay.
what creates healthy, intelligent children that
Security.
can see parents that are in a healthy relationship that love each other, there's so many benefits to marriage, and I want people to get married.
So help me out here.
But you're not helping the cause. That's why I'm here.
This is so. Hang on. Well, I'm glad you're here. This is so strange. Tell me any of those things that you just listed that you can't have absent marriage.
Absent of marriage, because you don't have commitment. You don't have.
Why not?
Because you don't. Nothing says I choose you and I'm committed to the person.
Like a prenup.
Other than marriage.
Nothing says I choose you like a prenup. Nothing says I
like to
like Pikachu.
Right.
I choose you.
Here's the reality of marriage.
Stop.
Whip.
I'm about to allow you to speak, but I was trying to actually open it up to the whole panel here for a moment.
Sorry, Zaddy.
That's what but you guys, let me get it in here. We have a chat coming through, then I'll have you guys weigh in.
Flavia Sassonis is donated $200. TPUSA feminist dresses like a 304.
They probably like the whip. Never mind.
Pickle.
Great.
Do you want to respond to that really quick?
If this is dressed like, that, then, that is your qualifier.
Maybe just move the mic back.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. We do have a lot of people.
This is why you're watching the show and are single.
We're like 10 minutes away from
family friendly 304 you are.
Like 10 minutes.
Go ahead.
We do have other people on the panel.
I know.
I need to be
This was the struggle all
So
night.
here's what I'll do. You guys can finish that conversation, but those of you who've been listening and want to weigh in on something, now's your opportunity if you'd like to weigh in.
Okay, I have like two things I want to say,
Okay, go
and
ahead.
it just doesn't have anything to do with the prenup.
Lord
My
Marge is
thing is
based
that
too.
women's
She's
jobs
okay.
are easier now than they have ever been in the household. As a mother, as a caretaker, we have washing machines. We don't have to go to the quarry and rub our clothes on rocks anymore. So that's why women got bored and wanted to move into the workforce. So that's a technological issue. And then second of all,
Just like men have spreadsheets that they work on
Bring back washboards.
instead.
yeah, sure.
Or
Here, do
a
this.
podcast.
Andrew,
It's
wait.
easier for everyone. Exactly. Isn't it great? Technology and
Okay,
capitalism.
here, put the mic down. Andrew's going to take a smoke, so if you want to take this seat and finish your thought.
with Andrew.
And then my second thing is I only understand Andrew's point in the fact that if you're going to marry someone, you should trust them. And prenup, again, probably more for if you have money, and if you're going to come into money, good for you.
That's a good point, Russell. She was better at dealing with it than Tommy Lahren. I think they're learning. I think they have a class on how to deal with Andrew because she did she just stayed like that the whole night. She just acted like she was winning. It was crazy. Made no sense.
And I think you can still get a prenup eventually, even after you get married.
You can.
Okay, cool. So that's good. And then,
Posting up.
that's like all I'm gonna say. That's all I want to say.
You guys seemed like you wanted to weigh in here a bit.
Even if you're not legally married with a certificate, by law you are legally married after a certain amount of time.
She's thinking common
Yeah,
law.
I think it was
Idiot.
state, but I don't know. I think it varies
Wait, are
depending
you
on the
responding
state.
to her,
Like
or is
5
this your
states, 6
original
states.
thing
This is
that you
just
wanted
something
to
that
bring
I
up?
wanted to weigh in on.
Okay, so what you're talking about civil? What is it?
By law,
law.
I don't know the exact terminology,
Okay.
but I know by law it varies per state that you are legally married to someone after spending a certain amount of time with them, especially living in a household with them.
That's not in every state. That's
it's
I think
per
it's
state.
common law marriage, I believe is the term. In some states, yes, that's the case. If you've been holding yourself out to be as if you
Confusing,
were
but yeah.
married, you're living together, you're cohabitating, then the state could deem you you weren't legally officially married, but you were acting in such a way that was commensurate to as if you were married. So they're going to consider you legally married, common law marriage.
Also,
Did you have more on that though?
Palimony's similar
Okay,
too.
go ahead.
I wanted to respond to you and saying like, oh, trust them. And you said, oh, trust them. So like how many people that share blood with us that we're supposed to trust, maybe our mother or father, or, even someone that we trusted, a partner that we trusted for many years, we feel so secure in that scenario. How many times does that trust fleet away?
And
because
giving
of
advice.
Some sort of outside factor. So fucking much. So even though you're smart
What's
and
up,
you have
Leah?
the best intuition and you tried to do everything by your book, it still happens. So trust, shit changes.
You'll be
Shit
a
changes
fan.
in time. People change. People's motives change, people's desires change. So trust is fucking. Trust, it only goes so far.
I just don't think you should, as a man,
trust yourself. Number one. Trust is hard.
Absent Christianity, there's.
I think these covert feminists are more dangerous than actual feminists. I think it's much more dangerous. You could see a feminist, you know what they are, purple hair, you know what they do. You know to avoid them. But these covert feminists are getting into men's lives. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Oh, let me get to this one too. Sorry about that.
There's actually no reason for men to get married. Or perhaps I can reframe it. There's no reason for the breadwinner to get married. There's breadwinners, total L to get married.
Yeah, and here's my question that I kept trying to ask.
Was she? I thought she said she didn't have any religion. I'll have to go back to the beginning. I fast forward through a lot of that shit. I don't pay attention to what they say they are.
Andrew.
He's like, oh, what if you got a waitress and a mechanic? Okay, well, great jobs there. But you don't know what those people's lives are, what those people's assets are, what money they're going to be getting from family or godfather, mother in the future. Mm-hmm. So he's talking about his own daughter. So, okay, let's say your daughter has a few million coming to her in the future. And this man you trust him. He's just a fucking man, though. So would it change if his daughter had, let's say, 10 million coming to her?
Well, I think
he's saying, oh, like, because it's to protect the man. He's doing it to protect the man. What about your daughter that might have a lot of money in her name?
That he might want to leave her one day.
Exactly.
Right?
That's when you want that money going to him.
Begin a prenup when you know the paperwork's in action and you're about to get a trust sent to you. You're going to go to a lawyer and get that all taken care of. So, yeah, but you don't need to do it at the beginning of the marriage. You can do it when the money comes.
Whatever.
I agree.
Prenup.
But it's when it comes. You don't.
Please.
You don't need to get it. And we're all the whole argument here is that we're pro prenup, and he's saying.
Why I'm here.
Well, I don't necessarily think that that's his position. You haven't stated your position exactly on whether you're pro or against.
So
pro for the man, at least.
Here's why I consider this a femcon position. Everything here that she's talking about is materialist based. She's talking from specifically a materialist lens.
Logic-based lens, but okay.
Materialist-based lens. Let me finish. I'll explain and express.
It's unlivable here, Crussell. I'm looking in Asia.
That's how that's the case. So from my view, right, marriage is a religious institution, and it's designed specifically to be a religious institution. If you want to see the lowest divorce rates, look at the people who are the most religious. That's when you'll find the least divorce is there.
Is that statistically true?
Not only statistically true, very statistically true.
John Gottman,
the more often, the more rigorous they practice, the least likely they are to divorce.
Okay.
Like
from your view, the materialist view,
logical view.
Well, it's not. Women. Hang on. If it's the logical view, then I need this one question answered.
Sure.
If we're only protecting our stuff, our things, stuff we want, and protecting from the future,
you got to stop.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's not stuff. It's not material.
Hold on. You've been interrupting a fuck ton. Your contributions with your little quips and your little add-ins are not really. They're not adding substance to the conversation, and it's interrupting.
What it's not.
But just even if you disagree. Let him finish. Just let him finish. You don't need to add in. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and then I'll gauge with your view, I promise. If that's the case and it's just material, and you say it's logical, it's logical for you to want to keep material separation in case bad things happen, what the fuck is the point of getting married at all? If you're going to sign a contract with the state, if you're preventing the state from coming in and dividing assets by having other contracts, why not just use the secular method and just have all of those things absent the state contract? That would be the most logical thing. So unless you can explain to me what it is you're going to get out of a marriage that two people can't just agree to, right, absent the religious qualia, then I want to hear it. What?
Yeah. So you're arguing then that you're arguing against reality. So you're denying reality, and the reality that we live in is that marriage is not just a religious institution now. It is also a financial agreement and a long-term life contract.
Then why do it?
right? Right?
Why do
Are
it?
you asking me why I would do it?
I'm asking you, what would be the point if it's the case that you see marriage as being a long-form financial partnership with another person?
Yes.
Right? That you want to protect yourself from the state dividing your assets with that person, potentially leaving you with nothing.
No.
Why get married at all? You can still you can live in the same house with them. You can raise the kids the
What
same
about
exact
kids?
way.
You need a prenup. It'd be
Why
good to have a
can't,
prenup.
why?
That's the issue. They want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want all the benefits, none of the consequences. It's the same story over and over again.
Hey, do you need to have a prenup if you just don't
Because
get
in
married?
a prenup, you could write down, a cheating clause, which I would have, right? I want a prenup to make my marriage stronger in the future.
Why are you getting married though?
So you cheat, I cheat. That is going to be bad for the both of us,
But
right?
why are you getting married in the first place?
Because you want somebody to spend your life with.
You can do that without the marriage.
No.
Why not? Why?
Because that is not.
Where's the
Wait,
contradiction?
is it logically
Because you can't take his house that way.
possible?
Is it logically?
Yes,
Yeah. Then what are you talking
absolutely.
about? What's the logical?
Why did you get married then?
Huh?
Why
Well,
did you
I'm
get married?
religious. I just told you it's a religious institution.
But it's also a financial commitment, right?
Yeah, but if you're not looking at
So
it,
why didn't you just get married in the church?
Because
Are you
I
legal-
did.
Are
I
you-
did.
are you
I
legal-
did get married in the church.
Are you legally
Part
married?
of getting married in the
Wait, are you
church
legally
is that you
married,
get
yes or no?
legally married.
Are you
Yes.
legal-
Yes,
okay,
both.
So why did you get
Yes,
legally
both.
married?
Marriage license.
For me,
Why did you get legally
me,
married?
yeah,
and
for-
not
to if
just
you're
married in
chill,
the church?
chill. I'll explain.
Okay.
But I just want to let you know you still haven't answered my question. But I'll explain.
Yes.
But I want to promise you answer mine afterwards.
Sure.
A lot of churches cannot actually marry you legally without utilizing the state. Okay. And also, I was
they're
not
intertwined.
when I got married, which was so many years ago, as rigorous as I am now. I didn't even understand half of these things. That's first.
Okay.
The second thing is, if I was only looking from the materialist view, though, it's financial. Okay.
Realistic view, I'm
The realistic view. Realistically explain to me what you're going to get out of the marriage that you're not going to get not marriage. What?
Okay. If I am not married and I'm living with a person long term and we have shared financial assets, right?
Yeah.
And one of us decides to hurt the other, betray the other, or anything, and now we want to split, right? As a result of that. Now we both have to go to court. Now I have to hire a lawyer. Now I have to create a mess out of my life just to leave that relationship. If we have kids, it's extremely complicated as well.
You don't have to know that if you don't get married. Good point, Andrew.
Wait,
If
what?
Let me finish my answer. If you do have a legal contract in place that talks about if those things were to happen,
Yeah.
and God hoping that it doesn't,
Yeah.
right? Then I have a plan of action. This is what happens, right? And I.
Why
have an
is
exit
marriage
route.
necessary to any of that?
Can I give you?
Hang on,
you
let her
could've-
finish.
Why is marriage?
Why is marriage necessary for you to have a contract with somebody that they can't take your stuff? Why can't you have a contract with a person on what you're going to do absent marriage?
So you want people to?
It's not what I want. I'm asking you a question. Why?
Because again, marriage is a legal contract, and it is
I'm happy you found your way, Leah. I really am.
It is a institution that basically is ingrained in our society, and children.
That's not giving me the reason why you need to get married.
Children that come from married households
Yeah.
do better. Period.
Is that because of the marriage, or is that because it's a mom and dad in the same household?
Do you think a mom and dad? In the
Don't
same
ask me a
house-
question.
Wait,
Answer my question.
Wait. Do you think?
Answer the question first.
You have to let me answer how I want. You don't get to tell me
Asking
how.
me
You have to let me ask you questions for my answer. Like that's so stupid.
questions, not answering it.
You don't get to tell me how I answer.
Okay, so I'm just gonna answer all your questions with questions.
I think
then?
it's fair. I think it's fair for you to answer
can.
the question, please.
Yes.
And then
So-
answer it.
So you're trying to compare, you're trying to say that kids that are raised in a household where the parents are legally married
Yeah.
do the same or have the same advantage as kids that are raised in a household where the parents are together but
Yeah.
not legally married.
Can you tell me what the difference would be?
The difference is, statistically speaking, the ones that are
Yeah,
married
but
do
what
better.
would that have to do with a certificate with the state?
You tell me the correlation.
I'm
just
asking you.
I'm just telling you the facts.
Yeah, but why though? Why couldn't you have
Why is
from a
it?
secular view? Why couldn't you have the exact? Here's why. I'll tell you why.
You tell me why.
So the reason that you generally see inside of married households the outcomes being better for the kids because it's
Why?
tied to religion, almost every single time. The outcomes are way better for the kids because it's tied to religion. If you're talking about a purely secular household,
Like mother and father or boyfriend, girlfriend for 20 years. Why do the kids from that union do a lot less better than the people that are married?
Because if they're religious, they don't live like that. They get married. If they're not religious, they live like that, right? And they don't institute the religion.
Are religious, and that's the
no. Most marriages are not, which is why so many of them fail at high rates.
Well,
and so the thing is like this doesn't even answer my question.
We're both trying to prevent marriages.
Yeah, but I still need to know why
how things work that way.
You need to get married at all under your worldview here.
Look,
if the worldview is
okay.
Can you stop?
No, I wasn't. I just actually was thinking of a point to make, but I didn't do that.
if the worldview here is just that you want to have a contract with somebody and live with them, and that's going to create better outcomes for the kid.
Somehow it does.
You don't actually. You're not telling me why it would be that you would need to get married through the state at all.
Well, we're both trying to, get more people married and to stay married longer.
Yeah, but what would be the point?
Your argument is that they need to be religious, and my argument is they should sign a freaking paper and talk about the hard stuff together.
No, my argument.
Which is easier to
No, my argument is
that
my argument here is that under your worldview, there would be no reason to actually get married through the state, and you have not provided me a single one.
I have provided so many.
Give me one that you can't have without the state involved. Give me one thing that you're getting from the state you can't just do.
If you go to a hospital, and your partner in life gets sick or hurt, you have nothing to prove that you are their partner, so they can't.
You can just do an advanced medical directive.
One way you asked for an
advanced medical directive.
And I just gave you one, right?
That's advanced medical directive. You don't need marriage for that.
Here's what I have to do, just because we have a lot of people on the panel. I want to make sure that we can get other people. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to make sure we can get other people pulled in. Here's what I'll do. I'll give you each 1 minute.
Okay.
To finalize your point on this, and then I do have to move on.
Okay. Yeah.
Time permitting, if we want to revisit it later, I just want to make sure.
So I'll finalize it super quick, right? This is a very common feminist trope. It's a very commonist femcon trope. The idea is actually it's going to elevate women. That's the whole point. They're trying to secure the fact that there's going to be failure. They can take the man for everything. That's what the whole point is. And by the way, let me point this out very quickly. She never made a single argument ever for what you would be getting in this relationship, married versus unmarried. She just keeps saying that they should get married for reasons that she can't even explain. So advanced medical directives, you can have that without marriage. Like, you don't need marriage for any of these things. So if you're not religious, what is even the point?
What are you doing?
That's all.
Can you get one?
Sure, but hang on.
Can I give a reason? I've asked like 3 times.
We'll let her close up though, real quick.
She needs her beating.
Close up.
Can you stop interrupting, please?
Thought it was polite. Sorry.
Huh?
Thought it was polite. Sorry.
Just maybe a hand raise might be better.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Me on the last
are
final
you done,
words?
Andrew?
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I think that the benefit of marriage is somebody to witness your life with, to do life with, to make life easier with. And love is the #1 component that should bring in people together. But I live in reality, right? And reality means that I want to be protected. I want my partner to be protected. I want us to go into a marriage for the right reasons. And I want to set a good example for my kids and make sure that they are taken care of. God forbid something happens. That's it.
Okay.
Super feminist.
Okay.
Wait,
actually, really quick, I have a chat coming in. Hide the super.
Charles Sterling donated $200.
Thank you, Charles.
Good to see you again, Mr. Wilson. Prenup is to only protect your wealth, not to protect community property.
Yeah.
Share 2 common laws after you've been living together for 7 years.
Thank you, Charles.
I think some states it could be lower than that, or they lowered it, but I'm not sure.
It can vary.
Yeah, it varies.
Okay, you wanted to go.
I was just simply going to say, because he keeps asking why get married. So simply just to up level your commitment is a spiritual thing as well.
I agree. In fact, I would say it's only a spiritual thing. So the thing is like, if you're going to up level your commitment, why do you want a prenup again?
Because if I'm going to be making that commitment, I want a prenup for protection. And what that prenup resembles, it's a reflection on those difficult conversations that you can have in that relationship that you have with your partner and yourself.
Then why get married at all?
Because I love someone.
Yeah, but what's preventing you from loving them?
Because I want to up-level that commitment. I want to solidify that commitment in a way that involves more than just me and them.
So you want the state to now get involved?
Sure.
It is involved, whether you like it or not.
Wait, do you think so people do make that commitment, they go to the state, they get the marriage license, do you think that this precludes people from splitting up? Because what I see...
It doesn't have to do with splitting up.
It just seems to me like it's protection for you.
It's with the intention that you're not splitting up.
Actually, I think so. For example, I think it creates, say, obviously people can have two incomes in a relationship, and perhaps in a scenario you guys both have perfectly equivalent income and resources and finances. But typically, you're going to see one person having more resources, more money, higher income than the other. It seems like it actually creates an incentive for the person who makes less money. It actually starts giving them a financial incentive to leave the relationship because there's a financial incentive when you get married.
But you're getting a prenup.
Yeah, right. But
you're getting the prenup.
So do we agree though that prenups aren't going to cover kids, right?
Why?
Well, prenups
because the state will come in even on a prenup for kids in order to divide up kids.
Well, I'm talking
about to have that included as well.
My understanding, and Brian pulled this up, but a prenup does not facilitate custodial rights even at divorce. I don't believe that that's the case.
I'm not sure about that. I think you can maybe arrange
something.
You can have something arranged there, but my understanding with prenups, it can address that which the assets prior to marriage, but I don't think prenups can address the community property.
Those are postnups.
Or it can't address that which was accrued during the course of the marriage.
Right.
I think I could be a bit wrong. I do want to move the topic on a little bit, time permitting. Of course, we can return to it. I think this all kind of kicked off when we were talking about raw meat over here.
I just have one quick question.
Okay, what's up?
As somebody that kind of has your position on this, on prenups, the only argument that I've heard, the strongest one is like, okay, well, why do you get car insurance and then you still drive? Why do you get health insurance and you still go outside?
My position is not don't get a prenup.
Right.
The position, the position is simply.
She doesn't understand. She asked him specifically, would you recommend your daughter get a prenup? Women don't need prenups. If you'd asked him if he had a son, would you recommend that? He would probably say yes, because women are crazy now.
What in the fuck is the point of the marriage if the idea here is we need prenups to protect assets? That's what our primary goal is. What the fuck do you even want to get married for?
Custody.
No, but I'm saying like
you'll still get custody.
No, I'm talking about second marriage. When you have a second marriage with a new person and they are actively fighting to get custody for their children is a reason, and it happens way more often than you think because some
what do you mean?
You can tell whenever they just can't sit and not talk anymore. Like they just have to say something. These women are so desperate for attention, they can't sit long enough without talking that they have to interrupt, and they know he's going to beat the brains in, but they still have to jump in. It's insane.
Some states, some chancery courts require, if you're going to have custody with a new person in the home living with the child and you want to show stability and you want to prove to the court that you are a stable parent, you have to legally get married to benefit that. Because I agree with you, and I agree with you because I was with you even as a religious person, because what is the point? However, when you're put in positions with an outside parent with children, it gets convoluted, and the court wants. I'm sorry,
I have to move this on.
Yes, please,
off
please.
Of prenup stuff. Off to another topic. Ivy.
Yes.
Ivy. You write a disagreement that you have with the show is that sex workers or your disagreement is that about sex workers not deserving chivalry. So you believe sex workers do deserve chivalry. However, I've said on the show, I don't believe that sex workers, or beyond just sex workers, even if a woman's not a sex worker, but if she's not a lady, so to speak, if she's not trad, she doesn't deserve chivalry.
So now we have to buy dinner for our prostitutes?
What's your disagreement?
I think that every woman deserves chivalry if they're like, you know, connecting with someone, yeah. But if connecting like on a level of understanding where they are reciprocating each other's values.
Okay.
And not everyone's going to have the same moral values. Not every man is the same.
So why do women in general deserve chivalry?
I think it's just basic respect, and I think it's traditional, but
Hold on, can you respect a woman and not?
A lot of these women's views are actually just gossip and shit they heard. It's all, you know, it's not real. It's not based in reality.
Or do chivalry?
I guess it depends on the relationship dynamic, like what you prefer. But I do think that we all deserve to respect each other and to like.
Sorry, continue.
I think we deserve to respect each other and to provide like basic human respect, like decency. Like if I don't expect my boyfriend to open the door all the time, but if he wants to do it, it's nice.
What are some other, can you list some of the ways in which men are specifically chivalrous? Do I have to repeat myself? Can you list some of the ways that men are specifically chivalrous?
I guess chivalry is also like, I can't necessarily like list it as a structure, like a set structure, like a certain way to do it, because what some would deem chivalrous could also be insulting to others.
Well, you would agree with me though when we're talking about chivalry. Chivalry is something that men do or provide in the direction of women. It's not ever the reverse, where women are acting in a chivalrous manner towards men. You'd agree with that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Like the last part?
Repeat it?
Yes.
I just said it. Okay. You would agree that chivalry is something men do?
I don't necessarily think that women can't be chivalrous, so no.
Good, you're behind dinner, bitch.
Yes, logically they could. So for example, if chivalry is opening the car door and paying for the first date, yes, logically a woman could do that, but typically the expectation is not on women to do that, and they overwhelmingly don't do that. You wanted to give examples of chivalry?
Yes, the opening of the car door, paying for the first date, walking on the side of the road.
And they think that's evidence too.
Sidewalk rule, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
why should men do that?
Because they are the biologically stronger sex.
What do men get out of that?
They get they get to feel good that they are protecting their
they
woman.
get to feel good.
How
that
nice
they die. Okay, that's great. But so
how nice for them.
Better than Percocet.
Can we clarify definitions as to what you think chivalry is versus respect is when talking about like how you treat a person with respect
Absolutely.
versus chivalry?
Yeah, so chivalry would typically be something it is specifically gendered. It's specifically man to woman.
Okay.
It's almost never woman to man. You never hear either men saying, I'd like a woman who's chivalrous. You never hear women say, I'm chivalrous. So chivalry would be typically the more gendered.
I never got a chivalrous blowjob at the end of a bad date.
Expectations of men, and those would typically be, observing the sidewalk rule, where the man walks closer to the road, paying for first dates. You could even extend that to being uniquely the provider in the relationship, uniquely paying for things in the relationship, being the protector, opening the car door, these sorts of things. I would consider that chivalry, whereas respect would be, we would all agree that, for example, if we go on a date with somebody, we shouldn't insult them, and that would be symmetrical. That would flow both ways. Okay. We should be polite. We shouldn't be insulting. That's something both men and women can do. Respect can flow both ways.
Is that what I've been doing wrong?
Chivalry flows from men to women.
Okay, and it just again. Question. So the question, what we're talking about here is whether sex workers should be treated with chivalry versus respect. So, what are we arguing here? Like, do you think that they should be treated with respect, as in like just like a normal person?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I take it beyond just sex
Okay.
worker. I take it because a woman could not be a lady, so to speak, and not be a sex worker. So a woman could just be very immodest in her dress. She could be highly promiscuous. She could be dating multiple men at once. She could be polyamorous, but not a sex worker. She could be sleeping with multiple men at the same time. I think if we're going to have an expectation that men are gentlemen, the woman should not show up on the date with another man's seed inside of her. Like, I'm not going to pay. I don't think a man should pay for a woman on the date, be the gentleman, when there's literally another man's seed oozing out of her. That's not very becoming.
graphic, very graphic.
Well, it's graphic, but it's true. And it's
sun.
what I'm trying to get at here
I agree.
is so sex workers, by virtue of them being involved in sex work, are not ladies. But again, extends beyond just sex work. A woman could just not be deserving of chivalry. So my position is simply, if you're a sex worker, look, by the way, just to be clear, I acknowledge that sex workers are
a lot of bad
even
days.
non-traditional women. They can still receive the treatment, like, for example, men paying for first dates, doing all that gentlemanly kind of stuff. They still receive it. But if I'm looking at the chessboard, the landscape, the hellscape of dating, I have a bird's eye view of what's going on. I can point to that and be like, that's not fair. That's a raw deal for men. Women aren't holding up their end of the deal. Now, of course, men do. There's a term in video games called meta, most effective tactics available. And reality is, whether the woman's the most traditional woman in the world or the biggest whore in the world, the most effective tactics available for men in terms of getting said woman, regardless of who she is actually chivalrous. So even feminist women, even sex workers, even non-ladies, it is still most effective to be trad as a man in terms of paying for dates, opening the car door, doing all these chivalrous behaviors, paying, et cetera, et cetera.
What is a lady to you?
That's the same thing this blondie up here with it, the video's about. That's the same thing she's doing. She is doing in the same meta. She's pretending to be a conservative woman so she can get what she wants. It's the best tactic for her. That's what she's doing. So I hope they get to that. I think they do.
Yeah, so a lady would be sort of the...
I've been curious about this. What is your ideal type? Like, if you had to...
Well, let me answer her question before I get to you.
I thought it was the same question, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean...
no, that doesn't have anything to do with type.
Not entirely. Okay. But so, what is a lady? The lady would be the commensurate to whatever, well, excuse me, not commensurate. You have gentlemen and you have ladies. So gentlemen would be showing some degree of chivalry. A lady would be a woman who, takes on, look, and I believe being traditional to a degree is a spectrum. I don't think it's either you're fully trad or not.
I thought I heard that last night.
You can land on a bit of a spectrum. But more trad, to be a lady, you're more trad than not trad, right? So for example, like a woman who's not a virgin, can she be a lady? Yes. But like the ultimate manifestation of a lady might be she has like traditional core value set. She's a virgin. She's not promiscuous. She's modest, et cetera, et cetera. And what would not be a lady is a woman who's a stripper, is a woman who does romance scams on men, is a woman who posts nude content online, is a woman who fucks men on camera, is a woman who sells her pussy, is a woman who is a prostitute, is a woman who posts her butthole and in whatever on the internet. A woman that's
bad too.
That's getting into the realm of sex work. So yeah, you're not quite a lady.
An easy way maybe to down this would
To
be
you though, not every single man is going to view it like that, but that's
Yes,
your
he's giving
personal
his
preference.
opinion.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm just stating that like that's your personal preference on how you date. Not every single man is going to view a lady.
well, the
same
universals
exact
are
way.
tied to virtues. That's where we would get the idea. So if we wanted to say what is a lady, we would say one who typifies feminine virtue. And what is a gentleman would be one who typifies male virtue.
Yes.
What I
Well
deem
put,
a gentleman, though, could be completely different to what you deem a gentleman.
That's true. But
So,
the
like,
thing is
in
when
my eyes, I'm sorry. In my eyes, like y'all could be considered not gentlemen,
Of course.
just as I couldn't be a lady. So, but it
Well,
doesn't
then-
necessarily mean that's the truth.
But
we
virtue,
have a shared language.
well, and virtue attracts virtue. So the idea is like, if somebody's not being very gentlemanly towards you, chances are pretty good you're not being very ladylike towards them, or they don't see you as being ladylike and therefore not worthy of gentlemanness, or the opposite. You don't see them as being very worthy of being ladylike, right? Because of the virtue attraction. So it's the same type of thing. So if we're talking, for instance, in traditional American society, coming over from what was going on in Western Europe, chivalry was like an old medieval concept, right? And the idea was like, oh, my lady, I'll give you this kerchief, and win this duel for you so I can win your hand. They're trying to exemplify male virtues. That way they can, and this was all romance shit, and there's a whole story behind it, but it doesn't matter. The idea here is like, you're not going to see women put their jacket on the ground so that a man can walk through the puddle without getting his feet wet, right? That was because of long dresses. Long dresses would flow on the ground. They didn't want to get him wet or muddy, so he would put his jacket down. Then the woman could go over it. So that's the idea of gentlemanly-like behavior versus lady-like behavior.
So, two things. Question. So, when it comes to a relationship, is there a person who first shows the the chivalry or being ladylike? Like, if she automatically isn't.
This is a great question, and the answer to this is actually simple. So, people's personality traits are often typified in their presentation. Right. So while it's correct, you could have like a pretty lady situation where you have a prostitute who's dressed in a flower dress and you don't know anything about her. You could assume that, she's a lady, or she's worthy of gentlemanliness, or this or that. On the other hand, if they show up wearing fishnet stockings and a low-cut dress, you may instantly make the assumption, probably not very ladylike, not going to be very gentlemanly towards them, right? So it seems like virtues tend to present themselves in behavior and in aesthetics.
And second,
But Andrew, however they show up, you still have to pay for dinner. That's the deal they think they got.
Sorry, I just got so distracted. Sorry, go ahead.
I got something here really quick. So you do OnlyFans, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you do traditional, do you do boy-girl content?
I do, yes.
Okay, so is it plausible or possible that you could go on a date with a guy and earlier on in the day you were being fucked by another man?
I do it with my boyfriend. I've only really done it with
You've only done boy-girl content with your current boyfriend?
No, with boyfriends, partners that I've been really close. I have done collaborations with
Then I won't use you.
So it's the same thing. You're doing collaborations while you have a boyfriend. That's exactly what he's talking about.
Specifically, you've done collaborations with guys who did not become your boyfriend or were not your boyfriend.
Yeah, I've done one or two.
Okay, so for those collaborations, the next day, did you go on a date with a guy?
They did take me on dates. They treated me.
Wait, not the guy you shot with.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking
Oh no.
You shoot with a guy, and then the next day you go on a date with a completely separate civilian man.
No.
Okay.
Cap, I'm calling it. Nope, she's lying.
But you realize that could possibly be true. That could happen.
It definitely is true, and I respect other content creators and what they do with their bodies, but that's just not how I roll pretty much. It's not my...
Right. But so, and that's only one example I'm giving, but for example, I mean, would you agree with me that, do you think, let's say a sex worker goes on a date with a man, and then earlier in that day, let's say she's a porn star, she had a gangbang with 10 dudes, and she goes on a date with this civilian guy who's a bus driver and not a sex worker. Do you think that bus driver guy should pay for the date?
I think he definitely should understand exactly what he's doing by dating a sex worker, by opening up to that possibility, pretty much.
Well, he should. Look, if you're a man who's inclined,
I do think she still deserves that.
Well, hold on. If you're a man who's inclined to date a sex worker.
Question.
Hold on. Yeah. If you're a man who's inclined to date a sex worker, and she's disclosed what the deal is, I mean, you can't really complain about the situation. However, again, if we're doing a bird's eye view, looking down,
I'm gonna jump forward a bit, trying to get back to the feminists.
Do you genuinely think or in the 1950s?
Okay, so let's talk about statistics. Right now, in this table, we have gathered less than 0.1% of the population. women that are sex workers, and again, not to, I'm not going after you ladies, but they're 0.1% of the population, yet men are the primary consumption of
The battle
pornography
against
and the work that they
herpes.
do. In fact, the majority of men are the ones that consume what it
And
is that they do.
I take issue with that too.
Right?
That's not even correct,
You can't
though.
say then that
Here we go.
we are at a point in time that women deserve the least amount of chivalry.
Wait, hold on. But I don't see how that pointing, that's a great red herring. I don't see how that would relate, though, to my point.
Well, because women that have done sex work have always existed throughout history, and they have always been a small percentage of the population, just like
hold on.
we are doing so right now, Brian.
Well, there's a couple other things here. So if you recall,
As if right now OnlyFans isn't one of the biggest sites on the internet. Like I think they said it was like 15% of women will have an OnlyFans by some certain time next year. That's insane. That is insane. And she doesn't think she's going to try and argue that no, there's just as many. There's not a lot of them now. What?
the argument wasn't exclusively related to sex workers. It was also with like population-wide promiscuity. Do you think women are more promiscuous now in 2026 than they were in the 1940s?
I don't know.
How
we
would
don't
you-
have, because we don't have
birth control
studies.
came.
I fell asleep a little bit after this, but I think right when they moved them, I was getting drowsy and going to sleep. But yeah, it gets better. She has to move them. I don't see that a lot.
On that.
Wait,
We don't have studies or statistics
Hang
on
on.
that, and I don't like to.
You like logic, right? Okay, so if it's the case that people were having lots and lots as much unprotected sex then as they are now, right? And it's the case that abortion is universally outlawed, which it was, then how come we saw the rate of single motherhood so much less than we do now?
Wait, and
Hang on. If they weren't as promiscuous.
Sex.
Well, because unfortunately, and this is another reason why I'm here, the government has incentivized by many ways to divide the nuclear family. And so there's
but that's
many,
not
I'm gonna have to get through that one. I got to get at least an hour or two out of that one next week.
the question. The question is asking
You asked
about
me why
promiscuity.
it is that.
Promiscuity. If it's the case that women were just as promiscuous then as now, but did not have birth control, and we still saw way less single motherhood, wouldn't that stand to reason logically that they were way less promiscuous then than now?
no, I think that.
So
I think that there's no way to.
wait, hold on.
No.
We actually do have statistics
We
on
do.
this.
Yes,
So-
let's pull them up.
Hold on. So we've tracked, for example, like they'll ask questions like, what is the number of premarital sexual partners you've had, for example? Do you think that number has declined
Or
or
gone up?
increased since the 1950s?
Probably increase. I don't know how
So
much.
women
so.
are more promiscuous today than they were 60,
men-
70, 80.
are men equally
How
more
would that
promis-
matter? Great red herring. How would
Okay.
it matter?
Because you say that now.
Yes, men are more promiscuous
Yes,
today.
we agree.
Correct. So now
How
you're
would it
saying
matter?
that
My point still
at
stands.
this point in history, all women should be treated.
I didn't say, holy shit.
Yes.
Straw man, you are the queen of straw mans.
No,
when
you
did I
said
say
that-
all women?
Yes, you said-
I didn't say all women should be precluded from traditional treatment. That's not what I said. Tell me what I said.
That's
you
why I
said
made her
that
steal
at
me
no
my
point in
arguments.
history.
No.
Let me repeat it
No,
to
no,
you
no.
then, right?
Tell me what I said.
Yes.
Because I think you have selective hearing, like you don't want to actually
Yes.
be good faith. You
let
want to
me-
straw man my position. I did not say
I can
that, but go
repeat
ahead.
to you
Yeah, what did I
exactly
say?
what you said, and what I heard was that we are in a point in history where you believe that women deserve the least amount of chivalry. Yes or no? Right? That's what you said, and we could play this back. It's live.
I don't know if that's precisely what I said, but that is the essence of it, yes.
Okay, and I don't agree with that because I think that most women are virtuous. I don't think.
Most? What do you mean by most?
I think
Give me a
most.
percentage.
I think most women aren't represented in this
not so aware of
particular
that.
demographic, and that they have more traditional values, and that they decide to have less sexual partners. I think that there's a small percentage of women that do have a lot more sexual partners, and so if we average it out, then yes, on average now women have more sexual partners, but I don't think that we have.
The average woman has more sexual partners than the average woman did 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
And you consider-
and it's even worse for men.
Sure, I'm actually,
It is worse for men. In fact, most men that are even married watch pornography, and so it really disincentivizes.
I think that's wrong. I don't see how that's
And
wrong.
most women read Harlequin romance novels.
And it's
They're
really
big consumers of porn too.
Don't read those novels. That
Yes,
is-
they do.
Yes,
That is
it's the most widely consumed female
Maybe the
porn.
women
It's
you surround
insane.
yourself
Men do
with,
porn
but
too,
none of the
though.
Oh,
women
it's
I know.
me. It's because
Christian?
anecdotes.
Are you Christian?
Anecdotes.
I believe in
I'm glad they just started ignoring the strumpets.
God, but
Are you
I'm not.
Christian?
I'm not
Do you go to church?
by a denomination.
So you think Andrew Wilson, who goes to an Orthodox church, you think he surrounds himself with more
women.
with women of lower virtue than the women you surround
You
yourself
think
with?
going to church makes you more surrounded by virtuous women?
Generally, yes.
Generally, yes.
If you go towards a church
great-
that has more traditional values,
That's a great
yes.
supposition to have, and if
Well, do you
you have
think
it, that's
women
great.
in church
Well,
are
what
more
do you?
virtuous,
Well,
or do you
let's.
think
Well, hang
women-
on. Let's start with this. Let's untangle a couple of concepts. What do you consider female virtues?
I think that women that are intelligent,
No, just name some of the virtues.
self-sufficient, that they are loyal, that they are compassionate, that they are generous, that they are caretaking, right, or nurturing,
Nurturing.
that they are intelligent, that they
A lot of those are traits.
yes,
What would
that
you
they
consider a
are
virtue, though?
high achieving, that
High achieving is a
yeah,
virtue.
so loyal, another one.
Okay, I can grant perhaps loyalty as
Yeah.
not being a trait like intelligence. Maybe that's
Loyalty
that's
is a
more
virtue,
behavior.
right?
What about chastity?
Chastity, sexual discipline is what I like to call it.
Well,
Sexual
chastity. Chastity is a traditional female virtue, right?
Yeah, well, chastity means very little to no sex, right? Like, but sexual discipline.
That's
is
right. Very little to no sex until
Correct.
when?
Correct. And so that
Until
is-
when, though?
That is not realistic in today's
I understand, but is it is it a traditional female virtue? Chastity.
For you, it is. Sexual discipline is the word for me.
No, for everyone it was.
Because
Okay.
I think women can.
Okay, got it. So
I think-
cope. Yeah, exactly.
Can I finish my?
Is it a
thought?
traditional
Do you think
female
do you
virtue?
think a person or an adult, let's say
You didn't
in
answer my question. Is
in
it a
their
traditional
30s?
female virtue?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Just like sexual discipline is.
Well, chastity was. Sexual discipline implies that you're not going to be chaste. You're just going to have less sexual partners
Yes.
than somebody who has many more than you do.
Yes,
Chastity does not mean the same
Can I
thing.
set an example? Let's say a woman gets married a virgin and for whatever reason gets divorced. The
Sure.
husband was abusive and whatnot.
Of course.
So they separate, and do you believe that as a result of her having lost her
I have a
chastity,
migraine
she
already.
can be
Lose-
sexually disciplined in the future going
In this
forward?
case, she's still following the virtue of chastity. So the idea here, when you're equating chastity with virginity, that is, they're not the same word for
so
a
for you,
reason.
they're not. Okay.
The virtue of chastity is that you're trying to only retain any type of sexual activity for husband. That's the
Okay.
idea. So I wouldn't say like husband dies, woman is no longer fucking following the virtue of chastity. She still would be. The question here, though, comes down to the idea of what is a virtuous woman. And if you say a virtuous woman is one who's chaste, it's 1,000% the case that in modern year, compared to 1930, they do not have that virtue of chastity, most women.
Most women.
Most
you think
women.
that's the
Hypergamy,
case right
yeah.
now?
Well,
I
you wanna
would
pull the
disagree.
stats?
Wait, what percentage of women get married as virgins?
Not very many
So-
nowadays.
So how can
So
you
by
how can
logic-
you hold these two?
Yeah, by logical
Very-
inferment, it's not
very
possible.
many nowadays.
So then by
Well,
logical
Also,
inferment.
don't get married
What's
at the
the
same
obsession
age.
with virginity?
right?
They will use anything to get away from their duties. They hate duties almost as much as consequences.
And a
Hold on,
woman's
hold on,
virginity.
that's
Talk
separate
about
content, separate
statistics.
con-
Let's
Yeah,
talk
we can
about
talk about
statistics
it.
and the fact. At what age back in the day did women used to get married?
On average, it was much younger, around 1920.
Right. So would you say then that that has something to do with the fact that women that are now getting married at an older age because they are waiting for the right person, or they're waiting to be financially stable,
They're just
or
waiting to get
or
through
they're-
college.
or they're waiting to finish their career?
It's just college.
Okay, whichever reason of those that is, do you think that that also has to do with why they aren't?
Well,
as
hang on.
chaste?
Why would it be a necessary entailment that because women wait until they're older to get married that they need to fuck?
So would you?
Now, don't ask me a question, answer the question, then ask the question. Why would it be a necessary entailment that because a woman waits until she's older to get married
So you're saying-
that she needs to fuck?
So
Why would it be a logical entailment that because a woman
You
waits,
repeated it. I got it the
waits-
first time.
Okay, then
I got it the
answer
first time.
first.
Okay, so
Why would that be a logical entailment?
that was the 4th time.
Go
I
ahead.
asked it. Because, well, human nature and human biology, which
So they have to?
which I do not negate. I am a realist, right? I'm a realist. I operate in reality.
So they don't have to.
If you would have not gotten married or would have found the person.
Oh, sure. I would have been the
within-
worst degenerate on planet
within
Earth,
the-
but
okay,
what's the point?
correct.
Who cares? That has nothing to do with the point.
I think it has everything.
It wouldn't
to do
matter
with my
if I was going to go out every single night to blow off of a hooker's fucking ass and then fucking go get into a gangbang the next morning.
Hell yeah.
It has zero at all to do with my point. Why is it a necessary entailment that women gotta fuck before they get married because they get married older? Tell me
don't
why.
have to.
Exactly.
They
So if
don't
that's the
have
case,
to.
all you're saying is that
But they can
women are
choose.
less chaste than they used to be, and then you're giving an excuse that they are because they're waiting about 9 more years on average to get married, so they just gotta fuck. And then, no, that's
You
not
really
the case.
seem upset at the
Can we
fact
say
that
people
women
and not
have
women,
to.
though?
That women
Why are
have
we just talking about
to
women?
engage
They
in
have
relations.
to. They have to.
right?
They have to fuck before they're married. They
Why
have
are
to do
you
that.
so upset that women can engage in sexual relations?
I'm sorry. I
before
thought that you said that that's immoral.
Wish I could
No,
go
I
back.
never said that.
Okay, so it's not immoral to engage in sex before marriage?
I think that it's good to wait before marriage.
Why is that good?
But it's not necessarily
Why is it good?
reality.
Why is
right?
it good?
Well, ask people that do wait until marriage and how long it is that they stay married. But again, that's a very small percentage of the population.
So then people they ought wait until they're married. On average.
I have conflicting views personally on that.
And you're
Yeah.
not a femcon?
I am not a femcon.
You're not a femcon. You're
it's based
ultra.
on the husband.
You're ultra right wing
And you're not a
conservative. I'm not a
traditional
traditionalist. Never said I was.
Nor a gentleman,
But you're definitely a
by
femcon.
definition.
Definitely a femcon. So
Right.
you can't tell me right now that it's not good for women to not engage in sex before marriage.
So I'm sorry to bring this up because I know it is a sensitive.
Yes, I had tons of
subject.
sex before marriage. But my answer.
No,
can you
that's
answer my
not what I was
question?
going to talk about.
Are you going to talk about my wife now?
Would you consider her a chaste
Yeah,
person?
okay, so anyway.
Okay.
Beautiful woman.
What would that
You can
have to
take her virginity,
do?
or-
What would that have to do with anything I'm saying?
That I believe she can be a virtuous
if I ran,
woman.
I didn't
I'm
say they
defending
can't be.
her.
I didn't say they can't be
I'm defending
virtuous.
her. I'm saying she has virtue.
Nobody
despite the
said
fact
they
that
can't
she
be.
has been married
Nobody
before.
ever claimed that they couldn't. No, this was not the
They were right earlier. She just hears what she feels like she wants to hear.
claim. That, I'm
were
asking you a question. Is it good for women to not have sex before marriage?
I think that it
Or
depends
not.
on the individual.
So then you would prescribe for some women that they fuck before they get married then?
I think it depends on the individual.
So then some individuals.
And I don't like to
So
call
then
it that.
some individuals you would prescribe that they have sex before marriage.
I think that people usually
Prescribe.
are. Hold on, let's operate in reality.
I am.
I think that most people are in a relationship for a year to 2 years before tying the knot. And
So-
it is unrealistic in today's standards to go without having any kind of relations before doing that.
Is that good though?
You ask me, right?
I am asking you.
I
Is
think
that good?
I think that sexual compatibility is important.
So they need to fuck
Why are you so
happens.
upset?
because
The little brunette in the center of the screen, she's actually kind of based. She sometimes I don't really agree with what she's saying, but she's more based than any of the other ones on there for the most part.
I'm
Why are you
asking.
so
Can you
upset
just
about-
answer the question?
Why are you so upset
Realistic-
Do
about?
they need to fuck or not?
No, they don't need to.
Let her
Nobody
answer.
needs to do
Let her
anything.
answer.
He wants a yes or no.
I do. Would you prescribe that women fuck before they get married?
I prescribe that they should verify that they have sexual chemistry, and whether
So
that
yes.
leads them to find that out
She's not their prescriber.
in one way or another, I don't know
What
it
would
is.
you consider the best way for them to find that out?
It depends on the couple.
Yeah,
right?
like
I'm
on
not in
average.
people's-
Just
I'm
on
not in
average.
I'm not in people's bedroom.
Yeah, just like on average, how would you say that that's probably the most likely way for them to like discover
How would you?
that they're
How
compatible?
did you find out that you had sexual compatibility?
Yeah, I
with
was
your
out
wife?
fucking.
No, with your wife.
What's your
before you
what's
got
yeah?
married.
What is that?
How
what?
did you determine that?
They're literally it.
She doesn't have an OnlyFans, does she, Russell? I thought she said she didn't. She's in the church and stuff. I thought. I didn't think she was a DJ. I'm not too familiar with her though, so sorry.
Anything that you ask me from an anecdotal perspective, regardless of how I answer it, has no bearing on the argument.
does.
How?
You're telling. So
How?
So would it have
How?
been bad?
No one's
Or is
got
it bad? Or is your
If
wife?
I literally grabbed some woman next to me right now, threw her up on the table, and just started fucking railing her in front of all of you, how the fuck would that have anything to do with my question? How would it have a fucking thing to do with my question? How?
Because you're trying to say that being chaste is the ultimate value.
No,
right?
I'm asking
And
you. I'm
did
asking
you. Have
you.
relations
Who
with
cares
your
if I
wife?
did?
You had relations
Oh
with
my
your
God!
life before getting
Why?
married.
Tell me how that would
Because
matter.
you're a human.
That's fascinating. I could have sworn she was like one of the church girls, but I fast forward through a lot of that shit because it's so fucking boring.
What
And
does
women are human as well.
that has no bearing on the argument?
Yes, it
Would you prescribe that women fuck before they get married?
She
the
does not
guy
get a say in that.
that they're going to be with.
Why do you
It's her,
think?
she has her own body. They have their
I
body.
don't. I understand
Look,
they have their own. Would you
personally-
say it's good?
I
I
would say that
personally-
it varies. It differs based
Generally.
on someone. Like generally, like I would say
Since she won't answer.
Well, I personally wanted
would
to wait
say
until marriage. Definitely,
it's their
you know.
choice.
But
I'm
I
not-
got married in
It's
my
not a yes or no
mid-20s.
question.
I'm not
realistically.
asking. Listen, you can make a caveat and say sure. For like most people, it's good. But I would prescribe for at least some people that they should have sex before they marry the person they're going to
You
marry.
shouldn't
Would
tell-
your
Hang on,
followers
hang on, hang on.
It's nice of you to
Would you
say.
calm down?
It's sad.
So I can at least finish the sentence.
Go for it.
Cool guy.
Here's the thing, right? It's like what I'm asking specifically is if you would at least recommend to some people it would be good for you to have sex before you marry this
I don't
this
recommend
person.
any kind of
Would you
sexual acts
prescribe?
between other couples ever. Period. That's my answer. Why can't you accept
Yes or
it?
no?
So then the idea here is when you're talking about ideas like chastity and you're talking about ideas like virtues, those virtues are prescriptions of ought. People ought do thing. So when I'm asking you about your oughts and you say I would never make an ought, I don't even understand now what is virtuous.
I believe that women ought to be sexually disciplined for their own sake, as in to maintain
Let me
healthy.
define it really quick.
Yeah.
So
To
when you say,
maintain healthy,
can I ask you a
to not
question?
have
Let me ask you a
multiple
question on
sexual
sexual
partners.
discipline.
Go ahead.
When she says sexual discipline, she means they only fuck the rich guys. That's what she's talking about.
So would you categorize the following? Hey, you got to put on frame. Put on frame, Nathan.
I'll be back. I'm gonna have another.
Yeah. Would you categorize the following as a woman who has sexual discipline prior to marriage? Let's say she gets a lot of women.
Affection, a listening ear.
Goes both ways. Goes
very
both ways.
nurturing.
Not a show
I'm
without
asking
Andrew.
Uniquely. So
As
okay,
the
hold
leader,
on.
though,
Something that men
Cameras,
cannot
cameras.
do.
they're leading.
No, but okay, when we're talking about chivalry, men to women. Chivalry does not flow women to men. So I'm asking.
I disagree
what,
with that. Because I've bought
Do you pay-
I've
huh?
bought flowers for
your
my man
boyfriend for
before.
okay.
Okay, he
Have you-
has.
How many,
He has
how many
gotten
first
it.
dates have you been on?
So one time she bought $5 flowers, and that means women are chivalrous.
First dates, not many, and you know why? Because I pre-vet people before I even go on a first
Okay,
date.
how many?
So
just
there
tell me how
aren't many first dates. It's usually first date and then relationship
Okay,
because
how
we've
many-
been talking
well,
for a very
you're-
long time before that. Because I
You're,
want to not waste
how
that
old are you?
person's
You're
time
32?
and money.
How old are you? You're 32?
32.
32. Okay. So how many first dates have you been on?
Probably 7 in my entire
Okay.
life.
Did you split? Did you pay for it or did the guy pay for it?
They paid for it because we agreed.
That's what I'm trying to get to, where they have to move her over to the degen side because she can't sit on the conservative side anymore.
Agreed on that beforehand.
You have that conversation. It's
Yes.
not just assumed.
Yes, correct.
You don't just assume
No.
that you're dating like a conservative guy. So
No.
Okay, so you
I
wait.
date
When you say you have the conversation, wait, didn't you go on dates when you were 18? So when you were 18, you're like, hey, by the way, buddy, you're going to pay for the date.
No, we had the conversation, like, and they
You
told
were
me.
vetting at 18.
Yes, believe it or not.
Okay, I mean that's
Believe
possible,
it or not.
but-
In fact, those
Okay.
are one of the things that you talk about. And if I have,
So-
if I have a verbal conversation on the phone, and they say, "I can't wait to treat you out to dinner," that is a verbal confirmation that the person wants to treat me to
Right.
dinner.
So
So
of
I
all-
know, we both know, both consenting parties know how it is going to go.
So of all
And
the
if he doesn't believe in that, then we don't go on the date, and I don't waste his time or
right,
money.
but so of all
Isn't
the
that
first
fair?
date, of all the first dates you've been on, which you say is 7, in each instance the guy paid, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you responded when I was saying chivalry flows men to women. If in your own experience, men always paid for you on the first date, and my argument here is, well, chivalry, an example of chivalry, excuse me, would be men paying for first dates, but you've never paid for a first date or even gone 50-50.
I do other nice things.
Okay, once you're in the...
I randomly give
Okay, great.
gifts.
You've been dating a guy for 2 years and you bought him a birthday present.
Nope.
That's not what we're talking about.
Neither am I. I buy flowers for no reason.
I've been
Okay.
buying gifts for my boyfriend that he bought.
But
Yeah.
you chose to contend with my point that I was making, which is chivalry flows from men to women. And you're like, well, that's not true.
No.
So
kindness.
how do women flow
But those,
uniquely?
that's a shared virtue.
Chivalry in
Kindness is-
response.
should men be kind to
would
women?
be what for you? What would be the equivalent word that defines chivalry as in
There isn't one.
kindness from women
That's
to
not,
men?
well, first there's
it's
the
So it doesn't.
There's a
It's
equi-
asymmetrical.
I think it can be symmetrical.
well, this is
actually.
this is
I
It's
also
not
think
for
it would
you.
be
It's not
symmetrical.
for me.
Well, it's
Because I have been
equivocation.
chivalrous towards men,
Yeah.
and I've been chivalrous towards women. I've
She
taken
can't even
women
say
out on
it.
dates where I pay for everything.
Okay.
I open the
Well, hey,
door. I take on that
This is
masculine
not.
role.
Yeah, I
you're in a
understand, but
different
this is not
circumstance.
individualized. So hang on, let me explain and express.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
Titanic's
OnlyFans.
going down.
Criminalize that.
Who gets the lifeboats first?
Women and children.
Nope. Fuck that shit.
The women and children.
Who makes that decision?
Well, these
Men,
are
right?
well, no. This is a general expectation which came from the various ideals of not just chivalry. That wasn't just one, but also the essentially the idea that women were a valued commodity, right? But all of those became a shared ethos, which led to chivalry. Now that continues today. The Titanic goes down today. The women and children still get the lifeboats. So the question becomes,
Be right back. Co-host has to go out.
what is the equivalent of that in general society that men have the expectation to get from women? What is that?
I think there is loyalty. I think that
That's
there's
shared.
Both ways.
I think that there is the value added of being by their side because men
shared.
no.
We're
Let me,
looking for
let me
something
finish.
unique.
Let me
Well,
finish.
there's
Give us
also the
something
creation
unique.
of
No,
life.
you need to let me finish.
We
the thought
create
on
life.
this.
Finish.
Men have women to impress other men very often, and so if you have
But
a
also
woman
shared.
that is next to you, that is intelligent, that can have a conversation and a debate, then it raises your value as a man.
Women raise your value.
In comparison to having somebody
true, women
that
do
can't
raise
do
your value.
something
Women
that.
pay for escorts.
Hang on,
So-
but there's not
so-
even a dispute here. The thing is like all of these things though are shared. There's also women who get men and want them as arm candy so that they can show them off. There's all
again,
that there's also women who
that
want
have
men
men.
who look
Okay,
like
but what
studs.
is
There's
the
also male.
proportional-
Hang on,
what is the
does-
proportional
wouldn't
comparison
hang on,
to
hang on.
that?
It wouldn't matter. The idea here is it's not a
is.
shared, generalized value like it is for men. The women and children get the lifeboats, where everything is you're
But men set
talking.
that
Hang on,
system up.
everything
Oh my God,
that
such a feminist.
what, even
Holy
No, it is not.
it is, but even if
The
it
same way
wasn't,
that men send other men
I'm
to-
going to
the
I'm
same
going
way-
I'm going to
Feminist-
grant it.
feminist discussion.
I'm actually going to grant all of this. That yes, men invented it. They just like they
And men
they
send other
grabbed
men
it.
to war, and
Okay,
I
you're
disagree
right.
with
We
that.
just grabbed a chisel and we were like, men give lifeboats. Got it. We put it in
They made
fucking
that
enshrined in
decision.
stone. They made the decision.
I'm
Can
glad
you
they did,
give
though.
me anything that's the equivalent of that from the female side? That's what I'm asking.
Well, women are the ones that are responsible for destroying their bodies and bringing life.
Do you have any
into-
kids?
Not doing a very good job of it. Why are population numbers in the shitter?
I don't have any kids, but
How many men paid for first
She's
dates
not
that
doing
you
a good
didn't give
job.
children to?
oh my gosh, 7 meals, and you think I should give a man a child for paying for?
She's almost 40 and she has no children. So is she doing her duty or not?
For my meal,
No,
Brian?
that's not what I'm saying.
That's
but
so
no, no,
weird.
no. Hold on. Let me explain the argument. Let me explain the argument.
Men are
really
also
quick, really
expected
quick.
to toil,
Really quick.
so it's not even an argument.
Let me explain. So if the idea here is men should be chivalrous, and chivalrous is expected up front immediately, ergo on the first date, men should do that because at some vague, nebulous point down the road, I might give birth to this man's child. However, that argument doesn't really make sense absent in all instances in which you've gone on the first date with somebody. If you didn't bear them children, then that argument doesn't hold any
The
weight.
reason,
anyway,
the reason I
because-
went on
chance of
first
having to bear
dates
their
wasn't
children.
to.
It
actually
the reason I
does-
went on first dates isn't because of the fact that they
I
to see if they're
understand.
chivalrous. It's to see if we have chemistry after the fact that we've talked about whether
The-
our values are the same,
Yeah.
whether our futures are going to align, a bunch of other
The
things.
reason that this argument doesn't
Right?
hold weight is because it's an equal curse anyway. Going back to the idea of Adam and Eve, Eve had to give childbirth, but men had to toil. Both of those take the toll on the body. So yes, it's true. Women have to deal with the bodily toil
You're
of.
making a religious
They
argument.
have, no.
I'm
making a present day argument. The top dangerous jobs on planet Earth are held by which sex?
Men. I
Okay,
agree with
so
that.
they toil. That hurts their body. You have the children. That hurts the body. That's an equivalent exchange. I want to hear.
Except the population numbers are broken right now. So that one of us isn't doing our jobs. You still have roads to drive on, but we don't have children to take care of us when we're old.
What we get that's fucking unique.
Women are doing those jobs
What
now
do
too.
men get that's
I don't
unique?
think your own mother would be happy to hear that question come out of your mouth, to say what it is that women give to you that is unique.
Do you have an
other
answer?
than life.
Wait,
So a man gives you a home to live in, pays all the bills, provides food for you to eat, and you don't have to bring anything to the table. That's the argument, and that's why she's a femcon.
what
Other
is
than
his-
life?
Wait, stop.
Yeah, wait. You
What
need
is his-
men. You need
You
men's
asked-
genetic
I
material
asked-
for life.
I asked you.
That's
Actually, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You don't. We can reproduce women with just
God.
Why
our
would
bone
Andrews-
marrow
No,
with certain technology. Yes.
no,
No, you
But-
can't.
no, you can't.
Yes, we can.
You always need male genetic material, no matter what. You can't do it alone.
I
saw
guess
this-
like they
We don't
contributed
need
with
you,
the
though,
technology.
just the sperm.
You don't need. Yeah,
I'm
but
curious what
men's
the other.
genetic.
Along with a DNA test to make sure that's the right person is paying that bill too.
We don't need you though. Just
Yeah,
the womb.
you do.
I don't-
Just
Exactly,
the womb.
that's us.
Yeah, the sperm's just us.
Look, I don't like the
No, it's
argument
not.
that
Yeah.
men
You can put
don't
it.
need
You can
women.
put that in a fucking jar.
Does that lead to good
And we
children
can
to not
perhaps
have a
one day make an
man?
artificial womb.
One day.
Like,
I hope you can afford it.
but that's my point. It's like
I don't like the argument that
all we're
men
looking
don't need
for-
women and women don't need men. We need
Yeah.
each
We need
other.
Yeah, but-
Absolutely.
but nobody's
we need
even
to value
nobody's
each
even
other.
disputing
and you
this.
See no value
Just
in motherhood.
asking about.
So why would a woman
Yeah,
want to
I-
have kids with you?
I don't know. They did, but here's
I
the
know,
thing. Here's the
I'm
thing, though,
sorry about
right?
that.
Is like
You know,
You're wait, what?
I wish her the best.
yeah. Well,
wish
I mean, you
her
don't
the
need
best.
to. She's never she's never been happier. But the thing is
hope so.
like
Wait, Andrew, hold on. Andrew's been like polite to you. I don't know why you're being like passive aggressive and insulting Andrew.
I don't even care. I just want to get the answer to the question.
Go for it.
What can you
Which he
name a
thinks doesn't
thing which
matter.
is equivalent that generally men would receive? That's the equivalent of the women, children, lifeboats. Anything, just one thing that's not a shared proxy between the two.
Genuinely asking that
Yes,
question?
yes.
Okay, so women are the primary people that are in healthcare, right? So if you go to the doctor, you're probably going to be seen by a nurse first. I heard
Are
this.
you listening to his question?
Yes, I am.
So if I'm going on a date with a woman,
I'm
what I
talking
get
about.
is that there are vaguely women in healthcare.
Yeah.
No.
What?
We're talking
No, if I'm
about
going
why
For
do
chivalry.
women.
If I'm going on first date with a barista, what I get from the barista
I was thinking we could give cards, like you just have a card made and everything that they buy goes on that card. And that would be an easy way to keep track of it. Like you don't pay child support, you just put money on this one card and you get the bill that shows where everything went on that card. That would be a real simple way to show that women are paying for stuff for the children. You know, even though who knows who drinks that gallon of milk or whatever, but at least it would be better.
is that there's
No.
vaguely women in healthcare.
No, but you
How
made a
does that
vague
fucking
question.
benefit me? What the fuck?
Correct.
Hold
But
on,
he
wait. I'm
asked-
gonna let this poor girl here.
he
Her
asked a
hand's
vague
getting a
question,
cramp. Hold
not
on,
a
her hand's
one-on-one
getting
question.
a cramp.
Go ahead.
We gotta let this girl come in. Go ahead.
Well,
Scoot into the table a bit.
yeah, I
It's
definitely do
like
see
Tommy
the-
Lauren all over again.
That
Yup.
would be a compliment. Thank you.
The biggest problem, too, I think that we're kind of running into is, like you have said, we're
hear
setting
that.
a lot of standards for men, but we aren't setting standards for women. And I think a lot of these things of chivalry and of, as well, for women, virtue, these should be personal standards we have just for ourselves. You know, we don't need
I
to
agree.
have the other sex in them. But it is frustrating for men if, you know, we are expecting so much of them and open every door and do all of these things, but how are you going to be able to provide for them? It is a fair argument, and men do want to be able to be provided in that sense. You know, it comes with a distortion nowadays. Our culture is really sexually saturated, so then that translates now into, you know, sexuality, whether they want essentially customized pornography of you or they want all of these different things, you know, and women say, oh yeah, I can provide that, but ultimately that's not the utmost which we should be providing. And this is loosely from C.S. Lewis. He had said that the ultimate career is motherhood and everything else supports that. So you had said that women sacrifice their bodies and destroy their bodies from childbirth, but that's actually not true. giving birth to children will make you healthier. It will decrease your rates of cancer. It's just a good thing to do, generally speaking.
Good point. Good point.
For some, but I mean, if we're looking in the reality and the statistics.
Yeah, women
that
ain't
is
dying in
true.
childbirth much anymore. That ain't a thing, really.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree. They have diastasis.
Yeah.
True, but it's better than just handing them, $600 and not knowing where any of it goes. That's just asking for fucking issues. So I was just thinking it would be a little better if you could keep track of it, like a bill that comes, your credit card bill, and you see where all that money went to and how much is still on it.
It ain't a thing, really. Yeah.
They have diastasis recti and they have their bodies reshaped, and the only way to put it back together is with surgery.
Wow, this
For
is some
some
great
women, that's true.
anti-natalist propaganda.
No, I think women should have
conservative
kids.
women this is literally anti-natalist propaganda.
If that is
reporting
propaganda
as a conservative
to speak
political
facts,
commentator.
To speak facts is propaganda.
That's okay. Well, how many women does this
Okay.
affect?
But
Most
what is-
women have diastasis recti after
And they need to be
childbirth. Do you know what
surgically
that
put
is?
together?
Since this is a dating
Do they
show,
need to get surgically put together after?
it means that their muscles separate.
Sure.
And then even if you work out and do all the bounce back stuff, they won't come back together unless you have surgery.
But do
So is it a
most of these women
sacrifice?
need to have surgery?
Well, for a man like you, if they looked the way they looked like after childbirth without any kind of help being put back together, I don't think you would be attracted to
Do
them.
they need to have
Why do they-
surgery to get put back together or not?
As if Andrew would leave his wife because she gains a little weight. I don't think Andrew's that type. He's been with her through thick and thin. That is a silly, stupid fucking thing to think.
Yes.
No, they can live their lives perfectly comfortably without
It's
it.
an option. It is a
And
choice.
not
It
only
is a
that,
choice.
yes, it's a choice. And by the way,
Correct.
that while it's the case, and I already gave you the counter to this, while it's the case that I would even grant that childbirth can be destructive on women's bodies, especially when they get old.
$200,000 a year she thinks she does for being a mom.
Older,
It's
which
her
is why you
kid.
should get married younger. But
I did.
Men destroy their bodies at work, toiling also.
Do
So
you
who
think
cares?
Brian is destroying his body on a
Do you?
laptop?
Do
right
I?
now?
Do I think that you're
Who
gonna
the
get?
fuck are you
do
to
I?
talk,
Hang on. Do I
lady?
think you're gonna get like post?
I'm just
80
saying men should have an option
Do you think sitting
to
is
work.
good? Do you think sitting
No.
is good?
No, what the heck?
Yeah, it's bad for the body to be sitting.
But it's not
Okay.
just that.
I work
It's
at a
like
fucking computer.
You can't.
I got carpal tunnel syndrome. My fucking back hurts. My neck hurts.
But you can't.
But
fucking-
you're not
you
going
also-
out to hunt animals.
Children
What I'm
and
saying is
motherhood,
you have
for
an
sure.
option.
And
in
you're
your
32
career.
without children. So what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Well,
That
exactly.
I have an option to do that, just like you have an option
But this is
to
the.
have a podcast.
But this
and
is
I
the
support
equivalency.
that decision.
But you see, the equivalency of the argument is to say, even though yes, it's true, most men toil. Brian doesn't toil, and it's like, okay, I can see the argument, but you're in the same position. While it's true that maybe most women with children X happens to, I can point to you and say it doesn't happen to you. So where have we gotten? That's not how you
It
argue.
probably will happen
If
to
you're
me
going to
when
make an
I have
argument,
kids.
if you're going to make an argument, you should make the argument based on what it is that we're discussing, not the
Which is a sacrifice that
not
women
the
make for men.
individuals. The men are making the equal sacrifice socially and societally when they have the top, most horrific jobs, toil, and die in them.
And I think
so. The
for
idea, So the idea here is like that's not a
No, you
unique.
asked what it is that women do. And I'm
That's
telling
not
you.
a unique proposition like the lifeboats, though. What are we getting, or the draft, or things like this? What are we getting in exchange for those things, right?
What is it
that
that you
is
want?
on
Wait,
the
what is
equal
it that you
pale
want?
for that.
What is it that you want?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I'm curious. What is it that you want?
I want
out
you to
of
make an
women?
argument. That's what I
No,
want.
I want you to ask me to tell me what it is that you want.
I want
out
you
of
to
a
tell.
woman-
I want you to make an
out of
argument
a
for what's
woman
equivalent.
For you being a chivalrous man.
I want you to make an argument
Okay,
against my
I'll
argument.
make you an argument, and it is that men bond through vasopressin versus women bond through oxytocin. And you know what creates vasopressin in men? Being useful to women and having a purpose. Versus
men's
women.
purpose is to serve.
So men
Okay.
actually become more attractive to women when they are doing things for women.
So
when
men's-
they're having a purpose, when they're adding value to their life.
So
and
men's
women-
purpose is to serve women.
Wonderful.
That's what
Is that the case? Men's purpose. Hang on, let her answer.
Yes.
Is it men's purpose to serve women?
Scientifically speaking, they are happier when they do.
I'm
TradCon confirmed.
asking
Do
you.
you?
Is it men's
didn't know
purpose to
already.
serve women?
I think it's men's purpose to have a good family and a life, not to. I think they should serve society. How's that?
Okay, but it sounds like the best way that they can do
Serve
that
society
is to
is by
serve
being a gentleman.
Is to
Yeah.
serve women because
That
that
was a
ups
good
a
idea. I
chemical
like
in their
that.
body, right?
It's by being useful
Really
to
funny.
women because yes, it
Yeah.
makes them productive.
need to
So
build a
really the
house.
best-
Because it
Slash
makes
the
them
mother of their
productive
child
members of
or
society.
future.
So again, my question. So
really the best,
I
hang on,
answered your
I just want to
question.
clarify this real quick.
I answered
So
your
really the
question.
best way for men to serve society is to serve women.
is to serve their community, and women are a part of it.
Yeah, but serving the women particularly
So
is
do
what
you want
releases
in
the
res-
chemical,
what
right?
do you want out of women?
Is that the case, that it's the chemical release that is assisting them in all other things that they're doing? So primarily by serving women,
Yes.
that would release that chemical, so they ought to do that, right?
if they want to be happy and productive members of
So
society?
if they want to be
yes.
happy, productive members of society, men serve women. Got it. Okay, now I ask your question.
That's what you should be doing. Yeah.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
And so since I answered your question,
Yeah.
why don't you answer mine, which is what do you want to get out of women in exchange for you being a gentleman, right?
Yeah, so you're talking about a preference now in generality societally wide, right?
What is it that you want out of women? It's
Yeah,
not a-
so I would add,
What do
are
you
you
want in
asking, are you
exchange?
asking me as an individual, or are you asking me what I would prescribe societally wise?
No, you as an individual. What do you want and
What
expect
I would
out
want-
of a woman for you?
Yeah,
being
well,
a gentleman?
my
You.
personal preferences for women would have nothing to do at all with the argument, but I
Can't
would
you
give
answer the
you,
question?
yeah, I'll give you I'll give you what I would generally would prescribe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a much wiser idea, prescriptively, from the government top down to begin running any type of propaganda possible.
I prefer that over her just asking questions back, or that was bad. But like the part where she starts just talking these long, he'll ask a yes no question, and it'll be a 20-minute diatribe, and it's just I can't sit through that. I get migraines from woman prattle, and I'm getting one.
For
Talking about a
women,
woman that you
Stop. He's answering the question. Stop
Okay,
interrupting.
okay.
for
let's-
women to move into marriages younger rather than older, and the reason why that's a good thing is because it negates a lot of that damage to the body. It negates a lot of these fucking problems where women are now, we're under the threshold for having our own kids. You're a conservative, you don't like mass migration, women got to have more kids. Otherwise,
It still doesn't
yeah,
answer
they're
my
going to have
question
to
as
have more
what
kids.
do you want out of a woman in exchange for you being a gentleman?
Oh, for me to be a oh no,
Yeah,
I'm
what
not.
do you
I'm not
want in
going to be a
exchange?
gentleman to any woman.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
for.
I'm not going to be a
married.
gentleman to any
Making my
woman
point.
at all ever. Yeah, no.
Thank you for
Fuck that.
making
You
my
got
point.
you got equality. I'll be nice to women, and I'll be polite to them like I am men. But
Yeah,
I'm not
so
going
you're
to do
polite.
anything fucking
You're
extra
known
for
for
women.
that, right?
Fuck that.
You're known for that.
Being a gentleman is actually.
I haven't been mean
So-
to you.
okay,
We've
so-
just been
He's married. Why would he be a gentleman to you?
arguing.
Okay, so if
Is
you
that
had-
is an
if
argument
you had
mean?
a best guy friend,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them that hey, you should want your woman to give you this in exchange for you being a gentleman and
I think she's coming off a lot better because, like you said earlier, if the volume was off, you would think she's winning because she just keeps smiling through all this chaos that's going on in front of her.
giving them that? What is it that you
she
want
might
out
be
of a
dumb.
woman?
Oh well, then I would just
But
you would want
looks good.
deep religious convictions, submissiveness,
Yes,
and
but that's
virtues.
not that's not a
That
thing
was
that
gonna
you
be my
give.
answer.
What is it that's unique? Because a man can also be religious, right? And everything
Yes.
that you just mentioned. So what is unique to a woman that you want in return for being a gentleman?
Well, I don't understand. You mean
know
what
you
you
don't.
you mean what uniquely can a woman give for that?
Yes.
Chastity.
What is it that you want?
Chastity specifically.
That can be also something that a man gives.
But it's
'cause
not
they
a
can
thing
both
that
be
women
virgin.
value.
No. You,
Yeah.
Okay, you said something unique that
Uh-huh.
a woman can give
Women
you.
can give feminine virtue, which is unique. Men cannot give feminine virtue.
What is the one unique thing?
Virgin
that you want
child.
a woman-
Virgin child would be chastity, virtue. Child. Can men do that?
So you want a
Can
child.
men do that?
So
No.
do you want a child?
Repeat
in
back what I
So
just
you
said.
want. That's how every
you
answer.
clearly are not answering my
I-
question. You're
okay.
understanding it.
Okay.
But
Now
I
they're
think
going
you
in
understand.
circles.
I think
Use
you
super
understand
small-
my question.
I'll
but
tell you what, use
can't
super
answer
small
it
words.
in
Go
return.
ahead.
I think you're in your feminine energy because you're
Okay.
asking women.
likes yes or
for
no
something
questions
in
only.
For something.
I'm
in
trying to
return.
answer.
You have feminine energy if you think women should have consequences and duties.
I don't know what she's
You're-
at. What
You're
am
in
I
your
missing?
feminine energy because you're asking women for something in return for being a proper gentleman and just having the role in society that you should have, and that vasopressin is the way that you bond
by serving women.
Wait,
by
really
being
quick.
a good
By serving women.
good server.
Why
of
we
the
even
community.
grant that Andrew is in his feminine energy because he's wanting something from women?
I'm asking him to name it.
No, but
Name
we're
what? Name what?
What is it?
What is she asking me to name, though?
What is it that you want from women,
I
Andrew?
literally just told you if I was going to make a
Duty and consequences.
societal-wide prescription.
No, you.
One, the one
You.
unique.
Stop talking about society. You. What is it?
chastity and
My
submissiveness?
personal preferences have
Yes.
nothing to do with the
That's what I'm
virtues.
asking you,
But
though.
yes,
You can't
submission,
answer the
and not only
question.
that, men are in a unique.
So
men are in a unique position where they can ask from women what they want. The main thing that women can do,
Mm-hmm.
is they can be chaste, give children, take care of the children. That is a unique thing while men work that they can do in the tender years
So
that
that's
they're
all you want.
necessary
That's
for.
all you want out
What do
of
you
a
mean?
woman
She's
is
conservative.
them giving you children. Is that
about-
that can be an
That's not what he
answer?
said.
That can be an answer.
He
Is
also
that
said
your,
submissive.
is
And
that
chastity.
your final answer?
Yes, and chastity, yes, which is a feminine virtue.
Don't you think?
Well, all I'm asking for is actually just this. I think that women could make the great case for chivalry if it was the case that they were moving towards feminine virtue. Then I think they could make the case, male virtue, we want some sort of privilege, which is what you used to have that you argue against, like no debt, things like that. Those were privileges. But the idea now that if you say the women are not to move towards the idea of virtue, but just some sort of like compromise of sexual discipline or something.
I'm looking forward to that not so erudite debate because she started doing this weird thing where she was like doing all this weird shit with her hands and trying to be sexy and shit, and she's kind of fat now, and it was just funny. I really want to do that
Thing
one.
like this. I don't think that they are in any position to ask for the lifeboat situation or any sort of chivalry at all. Why
Well,
should
we
they?
started this whole conversation
Mm-hmm.
on, men do this for women because they are being chivalrous. So what do men get back in return?
Sometimes he does that because he's not always stating his actual opinion. Sometimes he's just doing an internal critique, like where he'll say things that he doesn't actually believe. And so if you're, it's just he's doing things on different levels. Sometimes it's very, very, very high level what he does, and I think a lot of times, like, you don't want to give out too much information. Sometimes he's just trying to win the debate, and he's really good at that.
And
Yes.
that's what we discussed.
Yes.
And then my final question was,
Virtuous
what do
women.
you want in return?
Yeah, me personally has
That is
nothing
unique.
to
And you
do.
couldn't answer that question.
I'm not. My personal preferences have nothing to do with the
Don't you
argument.
agree
Yes, it does.
that men
okay, let me
are
ask you this.
asking less of women?
Hang on, stop. Let me ask you this, okay? Let's say that I woke up tomorrow and I went out and I just like fucking beat a guy to death with a hammer.
Okay.
And then the
right.
next day in court, I went out and I made an announcement and I said, you know what, everybody? Beating somebody to death with a hammer is bad, okay? What would me actually having beat the person to death with the hammer have to do with me then saying that beating them to death with the hammer was bad? It would still be bad. I would still be correct whether
I
or
get that.
not I engaged in the beating of him to death with the hammer, right?
Yes, and that's called hypocrisy, which is
Yeah.
why you get called out on it and
Oh
look
my
bad
God.
as a result.
That wouldn't even be hypocrisy.
Yes, it is. That is
It
actually the definition of hypocrisy, to beat a man with a hammer and the next day say that it is bad to
So
hit
stupid.
people with a hammer.
I
So
see.
fucking
So it is the case
stupid.
that I smoke. So if my 11-year-old comes to me and says, Dad, should I smoke? And I say, no, I'm a hypocrite.
Yes.
You're setting the worst example by doing it.
Just example.
You're,
So hang
you're
on, hang on.
non-verbally expressing that they should.
Hang on.
That's
I
the
have in the
definition,
past
actually.
drunk and drove. So if I tell a 10-year-old, do not drink and drive, I'm a hypocrite, right?
Would you do it again? Do you do it again?
Well, whether or not I would do it again.
Okay.
Would the guy who beat the guy to death with a hammer do it again? He says it's bad.
No, but the example you set previous to that
Yeah.
was you smoking. So
Yeah.
that is a continuous thing, not that you
So-
smoked once. It's
Yeah.
you smoking
Uh-huh.
that makes it a continuous thing that you do.
Yeah, okay.
And telling your child not to, that is hypocritical.
Okay.
I apologize, Leah. She is giving women a bad name.
Because you're
So
non-verbally
if,
telling
If that's the
them
case,
it's okay.
am I driving continuously?
No, in that case,
Hang
it
on.
would-
Am I driving continuously?
completely different
Okay, hang on. Am I
examples.
driving continuously? If I am, what right do I have to tell my 10-year-old that they can't continuously drive?
that is not a hypocritical
Why
situation.
not? What's the
because-
difference?
I will tell you.
I
right?
can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
I made a mistake. I didn't do
No,
it
no,
again.
not drinking and driving, just driving a car. I drive a car all the time. what right did I then have to tell my 10-year-old they can't drive a car? That would make me a hypocrite, right?
No.
Why?
Because you have a logical explanation, which is you can't drive a car because you can't drive a car till you're 16 because it's the law.
Wait a second. I'm super curious about this. So as long as there's a law, you're not a hypocrite.
No, because you have an explanation.
So isn't there a law that you can't smoke till you're 18?
Do you think?
Isn't there a law you can't smoke till you're 21?
Are you okay?
Isn't there a law you can't smoke till you're 21?
Your ass.
So then, therefore, by that same logic, me telling a kid not to smoke, I still wouldn't be a hypocrite.
I think we need to change the system.
I have to do a couple
For your
changes
sake.
here. So we need to change. We actually are going to do a seat change because
triangle hands.
You're actually opposition now, so we're going to put you on the other side of the table.
I'll take that nappy.
You two will switch seats.
Us too. Okay.
You two will switch seats because I don't want Andrew's neck fucking cranked the entire show.
It is 2026. She may have a penis.
We also have this chat coming in.
Chair 8 Blonde donated $200.
Oh boy.
Shut up,
$200 just to say that.
And specifically a username that's Chair 8 Blonde.
Get to the DGen side where you belong.
Who cares a lot about you?
That changes the
People are paying money.
Just to talk to you.
Exactly.
Here, just say what you wanted to
Let's see
say.
how we can do this. I think it's best.
Okay, we don't need to talk about the change. Just do the change. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think just important to note in the
I kind of see that a little different. I do like when they debate, as long as they're not trying to fuck up jobs I'm on. I used to be in law enforcement, and having a woman police officer is like not having a police officer, except you have to do more work because now they're on your shift and you have to go help them with their work. So it's like double work. So I have a real like issue with like when you're involved in men's fields, but this is just talking, man. Let them talk, whatever. That's all they're good at, really. These girls, at least.
This conversation, we talked a lot about, what's going to benefit society most. That was thrown around a lot. And again, it seems like an argument between men and women, but the biggest emphasis on it should be the children. That's the growing generation. That's going to be what is most impactful. And we can't really have these conversations.
Has this ever happened, by the way? The switching of the chairs?
It's happened.
Did I just make history, guys?
No.
No,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
you get she actually before the show she wanted to be on that side because of it, it's her side.
Yes,
she has a
this
better
is my
side.
so I did get
So now you get the
good side.
You get the good side. All right,
Thank you.
continue on, please.
Yeah. But regardless, having the emphasis on having a good society, the emphasis should be on children. Now, this is turning the wheels a little bit because I've never been.
I know we're going a little long today. I'm trying to get to a certain part where I stopped, like I drifted off to sleep because it was really good. And I remember it's like a little bit. I just remember she was on the other side of the table. So I'm just trying to get to that and then we'll cut it. And I'll probably do the second half some other time because I'm really enjoying this one.
Been at a table with this many people who work in the, I guess you could say, adult
Nathan, can you
film
open the door?
industry. So I've had quite a few friends who have done everything from OnlyFans to stripping to prostitution. And every time I have seen it, I have always seen it as a form of self-harm. It's something that happens in, early childhood. There's some form of molestation, of assault that leads to then women doing sex work.
You're
So
gonna be side soon.
No, I'm saying that this. I'm not
it's
pro
just
it.
it's not.
It's bad for TOS.
I'm not going to get into. We're not going to fucking talk about that.
Okay.
But
Can I ask one?
hold on.
That's not always true.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
There's usually some kind of harm behind it. There is.
I agree, Leah. That's a good point. Raising children is what these women should have been learning to do, but for some reason they were on OnlyFans instead, and that's the fucking problem. Or on TPUSA, which is just as bad now, I guess.
For sure. Disagree.
Not for me.
Would you be okay?
I'd say
well.
most
Yeah.
of the time
Brian, would you
somebody
be okay
got
with
I think that's just
around-
generalizing a very
around the
complicated
table
issue.
for the girls that
Especially
do,
people forced into it.
Hold
Would you
on.
be okay with the girls that are at the table that do work in the industry, like just by raising of hands, if you have had some kind of sexual inappropriateness in the past, molestation?
Well, I don't
or
even
rape
think
or
you're saying it's
whatever? I'm
only
curious
that
personally,
word.
'cause
I
I've
think
never
you're
been
saying
the
in
room.
general some kind of harm happened to them.
I'm not interested in having the
Yeah.
sex work bad
Okay.
debate. It's boring.
Well, can I ask a question?
No.
How are you not? Because you don't classify yourself as a feminist, right? How not?
Because I
Good point.
believe that I believe in traditional marriage. I want traditional marriage. I believe in loyalty. I believe in faithfulness.
But you want traditional marriage without like, without being a traditional woman and without automatically being a traditional woman without.
If having a career makes me a non-traditional woman, then sure, call me a non-traditional woman. That's how we're losing elections.
Well, not even that. It's just
conservatives. Thank you. That's why we're driving women more to the left. By chastising them for being individuals while at the same time being able to be mothers and being able to manage a household.
It's the married women who are voting Republican. They vote the same way their husbands do.
That's all she does.
And why are there so many that are unmarried and are voting Democrat? Is it because of people like you that
it's because it's because of the
talking heads for the right or
for
some
the,
people?
for the right.
I think they're making Israeli honeypots over there. Because that's what I think is. I think Erica Kirk was an Israeli honeypot, and I think that's what they're creating over there, an army of honeypots. That's what this is.
Yeah,
some people would consider you that.
Huh? So you're taller.
Oh, I don't give a fuck about that.
I don't know, just so you're taller.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing is,
never mind if you can just.
So anyway, if you're asking about liberal Democrat women, the reason that they are is because of higher education rates in university. That's why most women lean more progressive than men do. That's why. And they don't have the same benefit of the same type of career. So men, they're dealing with sewer systems, they're dealing with lineman systems, they're dealing with heavy electrical systems. They're actually dealing with systems which are dangerous. They have some stake. They understand how systems work better generally, at least the ones that they live inside. They don't have the same university indoctrination that women do. Married women, on the other hand, tend to move towards their husband's politics and vote towards their husband's politics.
Okay.
So the best thing for the GOP would be to let or encourage marriage, especially religious marriage, not so much secular.
So let's talk in, again, realism. You can't force a religion upon a person, right? So how would you...
You can force the ethics.
That's awesome.
How is it that outside of religion, you would convince a person that this traditional marriage situation is
It's not a traditional marriage without religion. What would make it traditional?
Okay, so a lot of people would disagree with you.
Okay, tell me what makes a marriage absent. If you're saying tradition, what would make a non-religious marriage traditional?
By the way, I personally believe that the person that I want to marry should believe in God.
But that's not my question. My question is...
But that is not negating the fact that there's other people that can be married.
How could it be a traditional marriage absent religion when traditional marriages were all done through the church?
Because we live in modern society.
Then it wouldn't be traditional marriage.
Okay, so why bother?
It would be something else.
This is
what if
like
it has the ethics of a traditional marriage?
At the beginning of the show, which is again that then why not just get married for the show with a pastor in a church and not do the legal paperwork signing afterwards? You're operating in an
awesome idea for you. You want legal marriage and through the state, and that makes no sense from your view.
It's what exists. It's not what I want. It's what exists.
You don't have to do that.
Brian's frustrated because we're going to go back to this conversation again.
Well, I want to be
doing it owned again.
Mm-hmm.
I almost am just in this moment. I'm contemplating. Why don't we just get you guys a 1v1 debate scheduled for... Because I want to be fair.
Because the second they leave the room, they never do the debate. That's why.
No, I think she... Well, I mean,
Are you kidding me? I will happily be back
She's really good at antidotes.
here for you, Andrew. I can't wait to do that.
You leave tomorrow, Andrew?
I will stay an extra day.
I can't. Yeah, I can't stay.
Andrew can't do it.
You can't
I want
stay.
that debate so bad.
What time's your flight, Andrew?
Darn.
What time's your flight, Andrew?
I think it's like
My
10.
flight tomorrow's at 6 in the morning, and I'm here. And I
do you want to extend a day?
So.
And we'll do a 1v1 debate, and it will be firecracker.
I can't extend.
Oh, you can't extend.
No, I can't extend. I have somewhere else I have to be.
You just book it on the flight in the American app, you know?
He has other...
This would have been awesome without all the other hoes around. Like, that would have been great.
Oh, you
I have somewhere else I got to be.
He has other engagements.
Okay.
Well, we'll schedule it for a future time. Not to say that you guys can't engage tonight, but I do want to be fair, and I want to try to...
Promise, though, to invite me back.
Oh, I'm...
Okay.
On our... as long...
Yes, I'll come
On
back
our
here.
end, we're good to go.
Great. Fantastic.
We'd love to have you back as long as you're fine with it.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't that Lee girl from TPUSA say she was coming back? I've still been waiting on that 1v1. Where that
You don't seem as excited about that idea. Why is that, Andrew?
Because you're not a good debater.
You think so?
No.
I'm just got invited back.
Yeah,
So
well,
that
I
wouldn't
think that's
negate
for
your
Brian's entertainment.
destroyed.
But I think the second you looked at the camera and basically said that men need to serve women, your whole TPUSA FemCon thing was exposed.
No, I think men need to serve society, and as a result, you need to serve women to do that.
That is what she said.
If we want those good hormones to make us feel all good and fuzzy again,
Yeah, because it releases
Do
a
you not wanna
chemical.
do that?
Releases a chemical. And
Vasopressin.
that is the thing. By serving
Vasopressin.
women, that allows them to serve society.
No, it's what makes them happy to
Oh,
serve
it makes them
society
happy.
and their community.
They're happy to serve women.
Their community, yes.
But specifically, they get the chemical from the women.
They get the chemical from action.
From making women happy.
But you don't do you plan to create a community anytime soon or with your husband
I'm
ever?
a part of a community. One, I think communities
honeypot.
are strengthened when there are marriages in that community with kids.
Do you want kids?
Yes, I want kids. I plan on having kids. Absolutely. I'm going to have kids. And maybe
TikTok,
in like probably
motherfucker.
3 years, I'll be back and introduce the
How
little.
many kids do you want?
Oh, like 3. Yeah.
And do you want to stay home with them for the first like 5 years or so of their life?
Yeah, more than that, actually.
she's older than I was when I had my kid, and I felt like I was ancient. Like she's nuts. She's a woman too. She's got a clock.
I plan on doing remote work and also homeschooling and also having my passions and being at home because I want to be the person to instill values with them.
I understand.
I'd like to add in on the men serving women and how it brings them happiness.
Oh my God.
You know what,
if you
though?
think about,
I'll fly Rachel back here after the 25th.
Yeah, bring Rachel.
If she wants to
I'll
debate
do
with
Rachel. She does her.
Come
after the 25th.
Keep going.
Okay, we'll figure.
Okay, so
Let's get back.
when it comes
right
to
when he comes back, I
dating
think.
and having a long-term relationship,
I'm looking like the chessboard. I'm talking about the chessboard. I'm talking about the landscape. I don't think you deserve it, and that's a separate conversation. Do you still get it? Does your boyfriend still pay for
I
your dates and
don't
shit?
think you deserve a good
Sure.
woman, but I mean, you might get a good woman to your standards. It doesn't mean that I don't think you don't deserve love or anything like that, but
Right,
like,
right.
you know what
Love is not free dinner, bitch.
like, and we have different values on like what a good woman is too. So like what like I think is a good woman might differ from your views.
Can I
which-
try like maybe a different approach? So the idea that Brian's talking about, when you talk about like kindness, things like that, kindness, being nice, maybe, various things like that. I think that reciprocating those, or what maybe we could just refer to them as manners, like having manners, right? You're nice, so I'm nice. You're polite, so I'm polite, right? You're kind, so I return a kindness. I think you have to separate and untangle those ideas from the idea of chivalry. Chivalry is the idea that men are going to go fight the wars if the draft comes. It's the idea that women are going to get the lifeboats. The idea that
to serve women.
It's the idea that in general public, if there's a fire, the expectation is that they need to run in, right? That they used to be part of bucket brigades that did just that. Those are expectations that are more in line with chivalry. And so what Brian's asking, and I would just put it down to the core issue, is why men should have any expectation to do any of those things ever. If it's egalitarian and we have equity, why should there even be an expectation socially that men
They don't have
do?
to.
Exactly.
Expectation,
But what did you want in
should.
exchange for that?
Yeah.
That's what my question was when I was sitting over there. What is the expectation?
Yeah, so I think...
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So you want to ask us what do you so again, I guess I'll go back to this. If we can say men should.
No, men do because they're the ones that set it up. Men are the ones that like run into buildings because they want to, and they're the ones that set up the lifeboat
from a
system.
dating lens, it's
We
made
went
for
to
first
buildings
dates,
'cause they want
sacrifice,
to.
provide,
Okay, so
doing all
what
those
is
things.
it that?
I don't run into buildings because I want to. I just walk in.
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
talking
So
about.
I'm asking if men should do XYZ, what should women do?
I'm asking you what do you want them to do?
Men have
No, but
restricted
I'm-
women's
Cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, maybe not be an asshole, help out and not be a bitch all the time. That's enough. I'd take that.
growth in the past
I'm
a lot.
asking you the question.
I have an answer to that as well.
I'm asking you the question.
I
Stop
already answered
reversing.
it. Well,
Nice tits would be nice too. Russell's right.
I was
Okay,
there, but
well,
if
we're
you
going.
want,
We're
I
starting
can
with you
answer it
then.
again.
We're starting with you, and we're going to skip
Yeah.
you.
What am I answering then?
Okay.
Exactly. Oh,
if
what,
you can
what,
say, if you might
what is
say,
the virtue, in my opinion, like should a woman do to gain that? to gain that chivalry.
If we say men should be chivalrous, should pay for dates, should do these things, what should women do?
Okay, so present yourself kindly, respectfully. Men are the leaders.
Men would do those things too. I ask you for what women should do, and you say men are the leaders?
Yeah, well, that's why we have the chivalrous word for women, for men, and not for women.
I ask a woman, what should women do? And she says, men are leaders.
I mean, I open the door for
so
men.
Something men should do. Okay, men are leaders. Something men should do. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that 1v1. I just have a feeling they can tell she's not. It'd be like a 20-minute one. Like she's not going to be able to stand up to Andrew by himself. Like he would destroy her in less than an hour. They like to go 6-7 hours on these things, and she'd be a mess by then.
Good question.
I don't see it happening,
shit.
but I hope.
Okay.
Thank you
Rachel.
for the gifted. Oh my.
Cut me off.
Oh my God. Under dirt and soil.
We need a bottle of champagne. We need a champagne pop up. And
It's not quite the threshold for the champagne, but under dirt and soil, 100 subs over there on Twitch. That's like $600, $700 or something like that. Thank you, dude. You're a fucking legend. I'm gonna give you VIP for that. Hold on. What should women do?
I think that we should reciprocate based
Agreed,
upon
Leah.
their preferences,
Agreed.
depending if it aligns with our preferences as well. If that doesn't make sense to you, I understand it's not how you were possibly raised.
Wait, can you strain the mic so it's pointing straight at your face?
I mean, after that, I'll answer your question
Like that?
correctly.
So, women should reciprocate. Let me ask you a question. Who should pay for first dates, men or women?
I prefer a man to pay for the first date, but if
That's
they
your
want to go
standard, right?
50-50, then I will go 50-50, depending on how the date goes and if I'm like feeling the vibe.
So the guy has to make up
But you're a career woman. Don't you make money selling those pictures of your butthole?
for it if he goes 50. Like he has to be way more attractive.
No, it's
and
not
then
about-
you'll tolerate 50-50.
Oh yeah, I do.
No, it's not about like I mean, physical attraction does play a part. Like I think that like stands for everyone. I don't know if that stands for you,
In
but
the past 3 years, how many how old are you? You're 26?
Yes.
How many first dates have you been on your entire life?
I couldn't count, honestly.
100?
A lot, yeah. I've been on a lot of dates.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I
Do you how often do you go 50-50? Or do
Let's
they always
fast forward
pay?
to
Mostly always pay.
Blondie.
Chivalry and dating can be slightly different than what we see in the general population for chivalry, which is women get the boats, men get the draft, blah blah blah. Men are expected to run in the burning buildings, this type of thing. Can we untangle that? Okay, good. So I think that if it's the expectation that women want to have those additional privileges, your question.
The ones you just mentioned, the whole like the votes and the
all that stuff. Women want to have
expectations. No, because men are the ones that set that standard themselves.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no reason for men to keep holding those standards up then.
There's no reason for them to want to, yet they still continue to do it.
Got it. Okay,
Yes.
so what my argument is just this. If women want to see chivalry, if they want to have men continue in those roles, then women need to take a back seat on authority. Things like the right to vote, stuff like that. I think that if they, I think that if they move, I think that if they, well, only if it's, only if it's the case, only if it's the case that you want to see men continue in those functions. So if it's not the case that you don't want to see men continue in those functions, then fine.
I think they
but if
want
it
to
is,
continue in
okay,
those
hang on, let me make the
functions
argument and then you can respond.
Yeah.
If it's not the case that you want to see them in those functions, then if it's not the case that you want to see them in those functions, then yeah, sure, you can girl boss all day long.
Okay.
But if it is, hang on, almost done. But if it is the case that you do, right, then I think that rescinding autonomy or rescinding authority to men is the benefit to men in that relationship.
Let's say I didn't want to continue to see men in those roles and have those expectations. Would they continue to do it themselves? Yes. Because they want to. Because strong men in our society do voluntarily take up those roles and do create those kinds of systems to protect women and children. So even if I was a
Yes, strong men love paying for all your shit. That's what we live for. We just live to see all our money go to some fucking bimbo.
Why should they continue to do so, though?
Well, they want to do so.
But
I
let's
think,
assume-
and you're asking
yeah.
me why they should continue
Yeah,
to do so?
yeah.
Because they're playing their role in society, in a functional society, just like women are playing their role by being mothers, by maintaining households, by holding a community together, by
Okay, so then
making sure the kids
I understand.
are involved. And,
Yeah, so then men should always assume the higher risk.
Higher risk
Yeah,
is
hang on.
completely
Hang on.
is
Hang on.
get less rewards.
Just let me ask the question before you answer it. Men should assume the higher risk of things like the
In your opinion.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Do you have any risk ever of being drafted?
Just your opinion.
Do I have a risk of being drafted?
Ever.
No. Do you have any kind of
yeah.
risk that women go through, as in, the number one reason for female violence is men. So if I go outside right now, this is a perfect.
But hang on.
Wait, because you asked me,
God.
right? If I go outside right now, we're kind of in a sketchy part of California, right?
Vulnerable.
I am more vulnerable and at risk than you would be, yes or no, right?
Yeah, that would be
Correct.
indeed
So
the case.
I run more risks of just as a result of being a woman.
However,
Correct. Every single day.
but tho-
And I hate that.
Okay, but those are
men don't
socially
understand that.
those are socially avoidable risks.
Socially avoidable
Absolute
by
non
living.
sequitur.
Yeah, so
Stay inside
hang on,
forever.
hang on, chill out. Let me make the argument.
What does it have to do with
and
that?
respond?
Okay.
Okay, so the argument's just this. It is the case that if there is a draft and a man avoids the draft, right?
How often does that happen
Can you
versus how often
interrupt?
do I go
can I
outside?
at least ask the fucking
Go
question?
for it.
If it is the case that a man is drafted, he avoids the draft, he goes to jail, okay? Your individualistic risk right now in Santa Barbara, walking around in the middle of the night, is almost negligible. If you take the averages and then only associate yourself with the average, I can say your risk is statistically higher than a man. Sure, that is the case. But why should men be punished for that?
Well, why are men punishing other men by being the ones setting up a draft system to send other men to
This
war?
is exactly
How is
my
that
point.
fault?
As if
so
that's
my
not
point,
required.
my point would be though that if it was the case that we eliminated the draft,
Which I think
that
they should.
that actually
Which I think they should.
that actually would benefit you the least, right?
Say
That would
again?
benefit women
'Cause
the
I didn't
least.
hear the last part. Say that
That
again.
would benefit women the least if we eliminated the draft, right?
Why? How
See
would
you, man.
it
Thanks for stopping
not
in.
benefit me if rich and elite powerful men are sending other men to die for different
Because
reasons?
if it's the case that you're,
I don't want that, by the way. I want men to be here
Because if it's-
and not go
yeah,
out and
I
die
get it.
in
But if it is the
wars.
case that the United States is invaded, you may
Which
need.
is very rare because now we
Okay.
do innovations by technology.
It's just, you won't even let me get the thought out.
Sure, I'll let you finish
I'm literally
yours.
willing to let you finish your
Go ahead.
thoughts if you're willing to let me finish
Go
mine.
ahead.
So if it's the case, to answer your question, that we needed to levy troops quickly, right? What would be the best way to do that?
I don't think that we should levy troops quickly. I think if we are going to defend our interests here or abroad,
Yeah.
we should do it with the
But
technology.
what would be the best way to
Kind
do
of
it?
like the technology that we used when we invaded Venezuela that made them bleed out of their noses and ears and made them stand
That's
down
a third world
because they-
shithole, but the
because they
question-
no, I'm talking about the technology.
You didn't
that they
actually answer
used.
my question.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. What
I'm
would be the
saying that they
best
didn't have to
way?
use
What would be the
bodies.
best way to levy troops quickly?
Why would I
Robot
want? I don't
troops.
want them to.
I
levy
didn't ask you what you wanted. I asked you what's the best way to levy troops quickly.
by
Build
paying
robots.
them.
By paying them.
There's always been a financial incentive
they don't
to
pay
joining
them.
the military.
So you can.
Or do you think?
So you
people
think
sign
that
up
if you
to-
offer like
Now
a
you're
$30,000
Now you're interrupting
yeah,
me.
go ahead.
Do you think that men sign up to be in the
No.
military to do it for free, or there's?
Of course, they get paid. Draftees get paid.
Yeah, you still
Draftees get paid.
You still get paid,
Yeah.
and you also get your education paid for by going into the military.
So do draftees.
You get certain benefits.
All of them,
just
so
like
if
draftees.
you were to answer your question, if you wanted to get people together really quickly without needing a draft, then you pay them. So
yeah.
does that answer your
so
question?
here's the thing that's funny is
Okay,
like we've
what's
been
funny?
we've been through this, right?
Sure.
You can offer large cash incentives in order to levy troops somewhat quickly. I agree with this.
Yes.
But if you're in a major war where you're seeing actual significant casualties, which we haven't seen since basically Vietnam or before that World War II, guess what? Cash incentives, $20,000, $30,000 come back in a body bag doesn't work. So what do they then do? They do what? Levy what?
I'm not sure because I don't.
You're not sure that they levy a draft when that happens?
I don't see that ever happening again in the future for any kind of reason. Do you? Do you?
Yes.
Robots now.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
You do things.
We have drones and robots now. We don't even need
The last
humans.
draft wasn't that long ago, of course.
Well, this is one area where we're going to agree to disagree because I think that
You think it's impossible we'll ever have a draft again?
Yes.
Impossible.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll
Can't we just? Can't we?
Also, let me point out that she makes no sense here. Like, it fell out of my head. I had a good point too. I'll get to it in a second.
Just switch the humans out with
ADHD.
robots since they're going to be better at fighting anyway.
No.
Why?
No.
We use robotics for so many other things.
Drone strikes.
All right, I got it. Here it is. $30,000 bonuses. How much do you think we have that we could just pay every person that we get to enlist an extra $30,000 on top of like the $50,000 salary they're getting? Like that would bankrupt our country pretty quick. I don't think that money is just like infinite. What the fuck?
In a lot of
We're
modern
just
day
gonna have
war.
a bunch of robots running down the field.
Then what? I mean, what's?
Yeah,
then
why
we
not?
should.
I mean, it doesn't
Robots
have to be
are
a
like
robot.
running
Then we
off
should
of
just
our
get rid of
religious
draft
lives
laws,
already.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So then
I'm smelling Hasbara. She took a tour.
Agree to disagree.
we get rid of the. So we get rid of.
We should get rid of.
So hang on, we get rid of the draft laws, and then after we get rid of the draft laws, I just want to ask, like, should women still have privileges when it comes to Titanic's going down? They get the boats, and the children get the boats first.
I think that it should be equal, honestly. But
Equal?
regardless of me thinking that it should be equal, men, gentlemanly men, traditional men are always going to put the women and children first. That might not be you. It could be you. I'm not saying it's not. But gentlemanly men have been the ones who do that and decide that for themselves.
So then the idea here is you don't need to yield anything to the privileges for women in society because it is the case that men just really want to do that shit for you.
Yes, so I keep
Okay.
so I keep going back to the question, what is it that you want from
I
women
want a
in return?
rescindance of authority if you want to have privilege. Yes.
Okay, so how would you exercise that authority?
What do you mean? Well, we would just
On
do
a
it.
woman.
We would do it civically
Okay, how?
through like the rescindance of the 19th Amendment, various things like this.
So take away their
Well, I'm not
right
taking
to
anything
vote
away.
by
Wait a
so
second.
that-
Women, if this would be a social agreement. So yeah, so if the idea is socially in a social agreement, women want to retain privilege. They want to retain privilege of like lifeboats.
No,
and
I
like
just want equality.
you don't. I get it. But
Okay.
if women do, if they want the idea of we have a privileged spot in society, we get gentlemanly,
It's always
we
been
get
like that
treated
throughout history,
gentlemanly, we get treated this way, we get treated that way, then it is the case that it was always the case that women couldn't vote either. Only post-vote did you start seeing the ideas of chivalry start to go out the window as egalitarianism and equality came in. So if it's the case that you just don't care about that, then we don't really have much of an argument because ultimately all you're saying is men really shouldn't do these things. I have no good compelling reason why men should do
No,
this.
I like for men to have the option to do it or not because then it shows me their character, and I'm. Gonna
Why would they
pick-
have lower character by not doing it?
Well, it is a personal
Just you.
opinion.
Yeah.
Think that they have lower character by not doing it, and so I'm going to.
Yeah,
pick,
but what would make that lower character?
I'm going to pick the guy that does.
Yeah, I
have
get
those
that. I get
chivalrous
that. But
values.
what would actually, in fact, make that a man of lower character?
I've said it's my opinion. Did
Do
I
you
not?
think that women
So-
deserve to vote?
Well,
Shut up.
If you're going,
Do you
it
think
depends
all
on how you
people
want to
deserve to
structure
vote?
society. If you want to structure society with female privilege intact, then no. But if you want to structure society with complete equity and egalitarianism, which is what feminists want, then sure. Depends on how you want to structure society.
How do you want to restructure society?
I think it would probably be a whole hell of a lot better if you're going to maintain female privilege to yield authority. But if women don't want to give up female or get back female privilege
Their rights to be
and then yield authority, then what will end up happening inevitably is men are going to just take it.
I would absolutely hate to be in a system where you have authority
Why?
over women, and that is
Why?
precisely why.
What would happen in the system where I had authority over women?
I think that you would abuse that power.
How?
I think that
Give me a specific.
Sure. Historically, when people are in different levels of authority and don't have equality and aren't treated as equal human beings, and I'm not saying men and women
That's-
are the same,
yeah,
let me finish.
yeah.
They should be treated as equal human beings. Like, let's say slavery, right?
She keeps throwing around equal and then telling us that men are supposed to pay for everything. She doesn't fucking understand equality at all.
Yeah.
They had people were in a position of power. So what did they do? They abused that power. When when women could not be financially independent in this country, well, and this is very sad, but men had the opportunity back in the day to be good husbands, to provide for their families, to be loyal husbands, right? But since women didn't have the financial capability of escaping a marriage, right, then they had to put up with cheating, with domestic abuse, domestic violence. And what is evidence of the fact that they weren't happy is that once they finally had the opportunity to be financially independent, they did, and they didn't continue to get married.
I understand. So then would you
get it?
Then would you say then, and I'll just wrap it up. We'll wrap it up in like very quickly, Brian. Okay, we'll wrap it up quickly.
I understand.
So the idea here is pre-women's suffrage, collectively then, if men are collectively not wanting to give women the right to vote, which they didn't, they were in fact abusing women.
They were what?
In fact, abusing women by not giving them the right to vote.
I think that they definitely abused their power by not being able to, by women not being able to escape their parents, right, to be able to maintain them, or a husband.
Sure.
Those were
I
the
understand.
two
That's consistent.
Correct.
So then the idea here, would you refer to that collective of men who was oppressing by not giving that right to vote a patriarchy? Necessarily, was that a patriarchy?
Not all.
Well, if it's collective, is that collective a patriarchy?
That system is absolutely a system
Of
where
patriarchy.
where men can be abusive to women.
And were they?
And
Is
I'm
that a
not saying
patriarchy?
That grandma, my grandma, your grandma, whatever, wasn't
Can you
happy,
repeat my question?
Wasn't happy back in the day under
so
that
dumb.
system, because she could have had
Was
a great
that
marriage.
system necessarily a patriarchy? If women were not allowed to vote because the men
By
collectively,
definition,
Yes.
Was it a patriarchal
A patriarchy,
society
yes.
because women can't vote?
yes, and men
I
are
think-
saying no.
Yes, I think that is a society that is patriarchal.
So you think it was good for women to get together and resist this patriarchy, right?
Get their right to vote and
Yes,
have
by
votes.
resisting that
Yes,
patriarchy.
I believe that women did the right thing and fighting for the right.
Now, I'm just going to tell you this. The definition of feminism is the movement towards egalitarian by deconstructing and resisting the patriarchy.
Okay, so
Thank
if that's
you.
your definition.
No, that's the definition.
If that's a dictionary.
That's the definition.
Then
Dictionaries.
call me a feminist. I don't care.
I'm going to. I
You know?
did.
You
You're a
are.
femcon. Yes,
No.
exactly.
You're a
No.
feminist.
Yes, you're a
Absolutely
feminist.
not.
Yes,
Because
100%.
when you
1,000%.
say and Google feminists
Go ahead.
nowadays, you have the first wave feminism, second wave feminism, third wave.
What do they all have in common? They're
What is-
resisting. If there's an oppressor-oppressed class and women are the oppressed class, who's the oppressor class?
First wave feminism was making
You
sure
didn't
that
answer
women
his
had
question.
an
If there's-
equal-
his question.
If there's an
an
oppressed
equal right to
class,
vote.
Wait, can you answer
If
his
there's an
question?
oppressed class and
what was
if there's
your
an
last
oppressed class and an oppressor class and women are the oppressed class, who's the oppressor class?
It would be
Here you
men
go.
that don't allow women to vote.
It would be, and if men collectively,
good?
and if men are
that's
collectively
good?
not allowing that,
Do you think that's good?
I think patriarchies are great. And
Great,
if
and that's why we're losing elections. Thank you.
to who?
So she just admitted it right there. You like the patriarchy? That's why we're losing elections. She is a feminist, and it has been shown. Evidence.
We got Trump elected. People with my view got Trump elected.
No,
Women
people that would, like
should
me
have
that
the right to
actually did
vote.
work on
Andrew?
the ground.
Oh yeah, I did no work. It was all the TP. It was all you. You did all the work.
No, I'm saying I had a part in that, but
Yeah,
thanks.
we all had a part in
Thank
that.
you.
But the point
You
is
did not.
like
You drove
we all had a part in.
She thinks she did more to get Trump elected than Andrew did. That's how dumb she is. I didn't even know her name. I had to go and find it. I had to go watch the beginning to find her name.
Getting him elected.
No,
Thanks.
you drove women away from getting him elected. by
Okay,
having
we
these
drove
kinds
women,
of
which
opinions.
must be why he was getting so many female votes from married men. But what do I know? Just the
Sure,
stats show it.
sure,
But in any case, if that's the case, you want to resist the patriarchy.
I don't want to resist the patriarchy.
You do. That's by definition
but
you
if
do.
it's your
That
version
calm
of the
smile.
patriarchy, sure.
That- no, no,
never
what do you
want
mean, my version?
I never want my daughters to live in a society where
understand.
they have no voice. And
I
I don't
get it.
think you would want your daughters to
Is
live in that
voice
either.
equal to
They
vote?
always had women always had a voice. If women didn't have voice,
can't vote, you have no
hang on?
voice.
Can you explain something to me?
If you don't,
Yes.
If women didn't have a voice before they got the right to vote, how did
Shut
they
up,
get
hussies.
prohibition passed?
by being nagging, by being people like me.
Wait, they had a
By
voice?
being women
So they had
like
they had a
me
voice?
that you find extremely annoying.
So they
and
had a
by raising my
voice. So they
voice.
had a voice.
They collectively got together
Because they
and
had a voice.
and organized within themselves.
Because they had a voice.
They didn't have a voice.
How did they get it passed?
Are you talking about could they speak? Are you just,
yeah? How did they get an amendment passed before they could vote if they had no voice?
They had a voice that wasn't recognized.
Because they did it through leverage, right?
Oh, so they had a voice.
No, they actually were bad, rebellious wives.
So they leveraged it by being bad wives so that now they can just always be bad wives and they don't have to use it as leverage. Now it's just the norm.
We're not going to cook for you. We're not going to clean for you. We're not going to do all this stuff. We're going to stop society from moving forward unless you give us a right to vote.
So they had a voice and men listened to them?
So they had leverage and they forced the hand.
Okay, so then they had political power. So they had political power without the 19th? That's so weird.
So that's...
How did women have all this political power without the 19th?
You think that's how you want women to do things nowadays?
I think that women always...
You want your wife to get you to do things?
How do women get legislation passed in Congress if they have no voice? That seems really like... That seems antithetical.
Making
by,
my
like,
point.
Being a nagging wife.
Oh no, you're making my point for me. My point is that women collectively had a collective voice, and they collectively had leverage, and they were looked to for issues of moral certainty. What they were not looked to was for being political cogs or having any space in that wheelhouse. They had their own.
Yeah.
But to say that women weren't listened to, to say women weren't listened to say that women had no voice, to say that women had no leverage, women couldn't get their will passed before they could vote, even though they got an amendment passed. One of the stupidest amendments, by the way. They had to get rid of it. They had to get rid of it.
That is fantastic. You are so great for this movie.
Like women helped us win any election for the good side. Are you fucking kidding me? We had to sit through Biden for 4 years specifically because we let women vote, and it was a bad idea.
I'm fantastic. We need more feminism. I wish we had more feminism and resistance to the patriarchy. That's really great for conservatism. Prenups and feminism. Oh, no religion. What a conservative movement.
Maybe not for you.
What a great conservative movement. Yeah.
That is in our favor.
How is it better for women? Women's happiness rates have crashed.
Yeah, you really seem to be crashing out there. I think that I can convince the girls here to vote for common sense conservatism and a republic.
Well, yeah, it's just liberal. He's just giving them feminism.
We're talking about rhinos.
Versus if you tried to make an argument for them voting for whoever you're supporting, I don't think that they would be.
You know what? I actually agree with this point.
No?
I 1000% agree with your point that if you sell feminist on feminism, they'll vote how you want. I totally agree with you. 1000%. Tell all the feminists to be feminists. They're definitely going to agree with that.
No,
yes.
I'm saying that women should have equal value to men and an equal voice.
And resist the patriarchy.
If that's what you call resisting
Gotta resist that patriarchy.
Fuck the patriarchy.
One sec here. Let me chat.
Just the fact that she did vote for Trump, though, means...
We're all good here. That's all I needed to get y'all to. That was the most... I was on a gummy. I'm on medical gummies because of a train wreck. And that was amazing last night. I didn't have a migraine because I was on the gummy, and I get migraines from woman prattle. So I am going to end this here. But I will be back tomorrow, most likely, depending on what happens with my air conditioner. They're supposed to be coming to fix it either today or tomorrow. So it'll either be tomorrow or it'll be Wednesday. I will be back, and we're going to do Tucker versus Huckabee. I am looking forward to that. I was excited for that already. And when I saw this last night, I kind of had to jump the queue. So I hope you understand. But yeah, I definitely think these covert feminists are more dangerous than feminists, just regular feminists. It's alarming how dangerous they are. But that's pretty much what I was wanting to show here. And I want to thank my commenters. You made the show amazing today. I really appreciate you guys. And I will be back here either tomorrow or Wednesday for Tucker versus Huckabee. Oh, that was a shit show. Oh. So I will see y'all. So let me do this first. Let me do this one. So I will see y'all to either tomorrow or the next day. There we go. Peace. I will see you whenever I come back.